Welcome back to the Post-Game Spread. I'm your host, Blake Helm, and right now I'm finishing up editing the Ryan O'Malley story, Part 3. From start to finish, it was absolutely incredible. It was everything that I thought it could be. This guy has one of the best stories in baseball of all time. If you have not listened to Part 1 and Part 2, we did those about 2 years ago, and it has, regardless of if this guy is from Central Illinois, this story holds up if you love baseball, if you're romantic about baseball, and if you are a dreamer. And what we came up with during this episode, I usually wait for the right phrases to be said or a quote or something to kind of name it. And what we came up with this one, and I think it's just so perfect, is keep showing up, dreams come true. And it just so encapsulates O'Malley and his story and what he went through. To recap it a little bit, this guy grew up a Cubs fan in Central Illinois, told his grandma he was going to pitch at Wrigley Field one day. Really good player coming up. Played some JUCO ball, played at Memphis, won a national championship at Lincoln Land. Undrafted, signed a pitcher out of Memphis, and then filled every role the Cubs ever asked of him, from spot start, starter, eating innings, mop-up guy, long relief, lefty specialist, even changed arm angles at a time, and just did everything the Cubs wanted, and the baseball gods rewarded him. He's the best guy, the best person, a heart of gold. We got to hear from some absolute baseball dudes during this episode. We hear from Ryan Dempster, longtime big leaguer, all-star, funny guy. He's still a commentator. Rich Hill, this guy's a machine, 20-plus years in the big league. He's still playing. He's in AAA right now for the Royals, 25th year in pro ball. Him and O'Malley are great buddies, in each other's weddings, spent a ton of time together in the minor leagues. Michael Barrett, longtime big leaguer, silver slugger catcher, the guy who caught O'Malley's magical start against Andy Pettitte back in 2006. Incredible insight from all these guys. We also heard from the lovely Mrs. Rachel O'Malley about kind of the life that they have created and where they're at now, and a little bit about him as a husband, as a father, all these things. And it's so cool to hear how well this guy's life has turned out. This guy meant a lot to me coming up, truly a mentor, big brother type to me. And this is a really, really special episode. I hope you guys are going to love it. Cubs fans, baseball fans, if you're romantic about baseball, this story is just so perfect. All the things that had to line up, the stars to align for this moment to happen, and we hear from these great people. So with no further ado, we're going to get into some ads here, but this is incredible. We went for about 3 hours. It's just beautiful. Couldn't have gone better. All right, here we go. Ryan O'Malley, Part 3. We appreciate you guys. And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by Clean Fuego, changing the game with innovative training tools designed to help players and coaches improve spin efficiency, grip, and overall throwing mechanics. Built for athletes of all levels, their products deliver immediate feedback to take your skills to the next level. Whether you're on the field or in the bullpen, Clean Fuego is here to help you train smarter and play better. Don't take my word for it. Also listen to our future guest, John Hazinga. Clean Fuego has helped a lot of guys with their spin efficiency and also their feel. It helps you find the center of the ball, all the way from our little league guys to our major league guys. We've seen great results. We love Clean Fuego. I really appreciate these guys coming on board. I've been a fan of theirs for a long time. I truly believe in this product in terms of how to increase spin efficiency, spin rate, all these measurables, accurate flight. So go check these guys out at cleanfuego.com. Appreciate you. We are also brought to you by BOS, Bank of Springfield, and Jason Knadler. The Bank of Springfield has essentially a whole baseball team over there. I'm talking guys like Jason Knadler, Justin Knadler, Timmy Ballin Wallen, Eric Weaver, Ryan Murphy, Murph Mathiot, Frank Stefano, Greg Morantz. I trust every single one of these guys to handle my money and to steer me in the right direction financially. There are 3 locations across the greater Springfield area for your convenience. Bank boldly with BOS. We really appreciate you guys. We are also brought to you by Body Cemetery, located at 2201 West White Oaks Drive, bodycemetery.com. More specifically, Chad Marshik, the owner, head trainer. This guy is just amazing on so many levels. He is capable of training anyone from a child to a pro athlete to just your normal everyday person to the elderly. And not only is he a trainer, but he is also adept with, physical therapy, nutrition,
everything is going to be customized to you and what you need. There's a movement analysis when you first come in to address any deficiencies you have. It's all customized. Chad is the most positive, happy guy I've ever been around. Body Symmetry will get you right. I would, put my faith in Chad and his trainers any day. So go to bodysymmetry.com, get set up. Chad, we appreciate you. Thank you.
We are also brought to you by the Hitting Center, and they have some very big news. The Hitting Center Arsenal Baseball Organization, with over 20 years of excellence, is making the leap to Shield Sports Complex, the future of sports in Springfield. Springfield's premier destination for baseball and softball is moving to a brand new home this fall, and they're inviting you to be a part of it. Currently located at 1800 South Dirksen Parkway, the Hitting Center features 12,000 square feet of indoor space with 8 batting cages and 2 pitching lanes. But now, they're getting ready to move into a brand new state-of-the-art sports dome at the Shield Sports Complex, bringing endless developmental possibilities and even more room to grow. With this exciting move comes the opportunity to expand. We're looking to add new teams, players, and coaches for both Arsenal Baseball and Hitting Center Softball. Interested in joining one of our teams or perhaps starting a new one? With 10 baseball teams and 7 softball teams already in action, we're proud to utilize the most cutting-edge technology in the game, including Hit Tracks and Rapsodo. Plus, our partnership with UIS Baseball gives us access to their incredible turf field for year-round practices and games. And soon, we'll be adding turf time at the Shield Sports Complex, a game changer for all of our players. At Arsenal Baseball, our mission is clear. Train with purpose, develop leaders, and excel in baseball and in life. This is more than just a game. It's about building character and striving for excellence in every area of life. The Hitting Center, Arsenal Baseball, and Hitting Center Softball, now calling the Shield Sports Complex home. Come check us out and be a part of this exciting new era of sports in Springfield, as we enjoy being a partner at the new Shield Sports Complex. Call 217.
We are also brought to you by the Office Sports Bar and Grill, located at 1919 West Isles Avenue. This is a really special place. I've been going there since probably 20 years, since I was in college, and there's just so much cool sports memorabilia, dating back through Springfield's history. All different high schools represented, pro guys, college guys. There's some great stuff on the walls. It's a great place to get together with friends, a great environment, inviting, warm, happy, lively. Great place for great conversation, great drinks, and great food. Please go see this place. Go patronize them. We really appreciate the support. The Office Sports Bar and Grill.
All right, guys, here we go. Welcome back to the post-game spread. I'm going to be your host as always. Sitting across from me, across from my computer here, is Ryan O'Malley. This is going to be Ryan O'Malley part 3 here. If you guys missed it, right about 2 years ago to the date, we had him on here. He was my 3rd guest. To this day, it is one of the best stories in baseball. It makes you feel so romantic about baseball. It's incredible. We're going to get all the way through it today, but go back and listen to those if you haven't. Today, we're going to get into his part 3, and we're going to hear from his catcher, Michael Barrett, about his call-up. We're going to hear from Ryan Dempster, and we're going to hear from Rich Hill, and I'll get into them in a second. But before we get rolling, let's get into a little bit of Ryan's accolades and kind of his background and whatnot. And I go through this whole thing, and then we'll get it rolling here. So Ryan was a 1998 grad of Sacred Heart Griffin, before going on to Lincoln Land Community College, where he won a national championship in 2000. He is number 1 in hits, doubles, RBIs in a single season at Lincoln Land. He recorded 9 wins as a sophomore, was named 2nd team NJCAA All-American Conference MVP in 2000, named to the Lincoln Land Hall of Fame in 2010, attended the University of Memphis and played baseball before signing as a free agent with the Cubs organization, going on to enjoy a 7-year pro career with a magical call-up in 2006. That is what we're going to be talking about today, where he beat Andy Pettit in Houston. It's incredible. Later transitioning to becoming a pitching coach for the Angels and Rangers organizations before getting into the medical device field. And in part 1 and part 2, we heard from your dad, Larry O'Malley. We heard from Jason Kanaler, the Tigers 6th-rounder in 2001, one of your best friends. Coach Woj from SHG. Chad Marshik, your longtime friend, trainer. Ron Big Bull, longtime Lincoln Land head coach, just recently inducted into the Hall of Fame. Alan Dunn, that guy was so incredible. Your longtime pitching coach in the Cubs organization. He's been all over baseball, LSU. Now he's with Arkansas State. Friend. He also spent time in the Tigers organization as a pitching coach, bullpen coach in the Orioles organization. How we know each other, this is so cool. And I gave you gratitude before, but uh, Ryan let me essentially, when I was kind of on my path, chasing, collegiate professional stuff, he let me run around with himself and the Knadler brothers, Jason and Justin, while they were in pro ball and back home. And I was kind of their understudy shadow. And it was so incredible because I took so much from them. These three guys are high moral character guys. They have incredible work ethics. And I learned so much about what it is to have a professional process, to have a work ethic, to be accountable, and to do things the right way from these guys. Ryan has stepped up for me so many times in my life. This show, I mean, this when you first came on, you really took a chance at, what is this guy doing that I know? Where is this going? Is he gonna, put respect on it it should get? And your episode really kind of opened the doors for me because I wasn't using clips previously, and I do all these background interviews and whatnot, and we used our first clip right off the bat in part one with you, and it was your dad talking about, you had told your grandmother at 10 years old that you were going to pitch in Wrigley someday, and it got everyone emotional, and I realized that we had something special, and that's been kind of the hallmark of what this podcast has become, is hearing other people talk about your experience and how they saw you and whatnot. So I knew that was special, and then that episode opened other doors because your agent, you had the same agent as Bo Hart. Bo Hart ended up coming on because he heard your name. Bo Hart opened up the door for me to talk to Tony La Russa, to Jim Edmonds, to Kerry Robinson, and all these guys. And every episode builds on the next, and it gives me more credibility to keep going. So, thank you so much for that. That was just forever indebted to you in that. And in part three, so fun. We're gonna focus back on your call up. With such a special lineup of contributors. In no particular order, we've got Michael Barrett on the line. So that was your catcher during this call up. 11-year big league career, won a Silver Slugger in 2005. Rich Hill, your longtime friend. This dude's still playing at 45 years old in AAA in the Royals organization. 20 years of big league experience. Nicknamed Dick Mountain, the best nickname in the game. This guy is incredible. I had a great talk with him. Ryan Dempster, 16 years in the show. Cubs great, all-star, one of the good guys of baseball, color commentator. And then also to close us out, we had the lovely Rachel O'Malley kind of giving us a feel for what life is like now, a little more insight on you and whatnot. And then before we really get going here, I want to go through the sequence of events that I feel like kind of sets the whole stage for this whole thing. So why this is such a special moment, why this is so romantic, why it is anyone in baseball could listen to this, not just Central Illinois people. It truly transcends. So undrafted as a free agent out of Memphis. Filled every role the Cubs ever asked you, from mop-up guy, innings eater, setup, starter, spot starter, long relief, lefty specialist. You were having a strong year in AAA with about a 4 ERA. Rich Hill was scheduled to pitch Wednesday in Houston, but the game goes 18 innings the night before, and the Cubs used 6 pitchers in the first 8 innings. Rich Hill closed the game, so he was unavailable to start. Wade Miller was down in AAA doing a rehab start, and they bumped your start to get him some work, so you were fresh and available. The Iowa Cubs were playing in Round Rock, Texas, so you get the call from Dempster and Hill, and we're getting into that. You can't sleep after that, and then there's a limo ride, and then you're asking the limo driver who's going to be the starter, and it's Andy Pettit. And then, August 16th, you pitched 8 innings, giving up 5 hits, 6 walks, 2 strikeouts, no runs, and a 1-0 win. Len Casper, the Cubs announcer, said it was one of the better pitching games the Cubs had ever had seen that year. Just at the end, he hugged his dad, had shaving cream all over his face. His dad had shaving cream all over his face. They're crying. We got emotional in the booth. Right when I signed off, Bob and I were actually crying. I've never experienced that before as a broadcaster. I don't know if I ever will again. The game of thousands I've called in my career still stands out as one of my favorites. So, Ryan, that was a lot from me. How are we doing, my man?
Man, great to be back here with you, Blake.
Yeah.
I loved our first go around. I've listened to some of your work since, and you're doing great things. And great to be back on here. I love going down memory lane here with you. So looking forward to today.
I appreciate you, my man. And before we get kind of rolling in some of the clips and whatnot, I'd love to hear. Were there any cool conversations that kind of were sparked after your part 1 and part 2 came out, or reconnections, or anything like that kind of came about?
Yeah, there was a handful of people, especially from the Springfield area, that was listening and that had listened and just brought back great memories, whether just kind of like where they were in the moment when that game happened. And, a few people, I believe it was during the state fair. And I think someone told me that they were playing it over the speaker at the state fair, and that's how they were listening to the game. So just that was cool. And then probably a really fun one was Kim and Dennis Worth who called me, and Dennis and Kim and Jason were a big part of kind of that, Chatham rivalry, just great baseball family, great athletic family, had called me and just kind of rehashed the glory days with them, and then also just talking about how they loved how I went about the interaction and conversation with you. So that was a pretty cool, just haven't heard from them in 10 plus years, and to speak up in conversation was pretty cool.
Oh man, that's incredible. And before we get rolling, we're going to have two. So I've got a bunch of sponsors. I'm mainly locally sponsored, but I've picked up some national sponsors here. So our two main sponsors for this episode are going to be number one, Bank of Springfield. That's your boys. That's the Canadlers. That's Weaver. That's Walnuts. All these baseball guys. Bank of Springfield, Bank Boldly. And then also our next sponsor is going to be Clean Fuego. It's a pitching tool that I'm a big believer in. They've sent me some stuff. They're changing the game with innovative training tools designed to help players and coaches improve spin efficiency, grip, and overall throwing mechanics, built for athletes of all levels. Their product delivers immediate feedback to take your skills to the next level. So truly believe in these guys. Head on over to cleanfuego.com. All right, my man. Let's get rolling. I'm so excited to do this. I've put in a ton of effort with this, and it was really cool getting to talk to some of these baseball dudes too. So thank you for opening some of those doors for me as well. It's going to be dealer's delight. So we've got clips from Michael Barrett, Rich Hill, Dempster, and your wife. Who would you like to start with here, buddy?
Yeah, let's start with Ryan Dempster. He was a great mentor during the call up. You talk about people taking you under the wing when you get an opportunity, and he was definitely a veteran presence that definitely did that for me. So let's roll with him today.
Oh my gosh, and I had such an incredible time talking to this guy. He's known as like one of the funny guys in baseball, a good guy. We were laughing going back and forth, and it was just cool when I saw his face pop up on my computer screen across from me. So here we go. This is going to be Ryan Dempster, never been so happy.
He was this young kid. I mean, he's not a ton younger than me, but he's a little bit, quite a bit younger than me. And it was just such an amazing time and an amazing series of circumstances that led to him being called up, because this wasn't a guy that was on anybody's radar. He's not the top prospect as we got it, didn't fit all the metrics in today's world. And, but knew him, just didn't know him super well, but I've always gravitated to anybody that, spring training, you meet anybody, everybody's equal to me. I treat superstars just the same way I treat the young player. And just like that whole series of events that took place that brought him up to the big leagues, and then what happened and unfolded after that was unbelievable. I truly, I don't know if I've ever been so happy for someone that wasn't like my best friend. Wow. I truly was genuinely just ecstatic for what took place for Ryan that day in Houston.
So cool. And that was one of my wonders about this whole thing was, obviously this was an incredible moment for you. Did these guys see it the same way? Did they see it as a special moment as well? And obviously they did. Do you have any thoughts on hearing something like that?
Oh man, it's cool to hear. And like you said, we weren't like super close friends by any means, but he's just got a great way about him. And anytime we would get, kind of called up during spring training, they call them JICs, just in case pitchers. And we would get called up, and they would bring up pitchers from spring training that they knew that could handle the moment, that could handle throwing strikes in a major league spring training. So I got to go often as a senior sign, as a guy that threw strikes. I got to go up and be the JIC quite often. And so I got to be around Dempster and, Kerry Wood, Mark Pryor, those guys in big league spring training. And so I got to be around Dempster, and he was a great prankster, and I think, he could see that I was a guy that could handle a joke or it kind of handle the moment. And so I don't know, we just hit it off, and for him to feel that way is obviously it's a great feeling, because like you said, and a lot of times, those guys feel like, hey, this young up and coming whether pitcher, starter, reliever, it's a competitor, right? It's a competitor, and so for him to feel genuinely happy, it definitely is a cool feeling.
I love that. This next one is Brian Dempster, better person being around him. He said some really incredible stuff about you, man. Here we go. You've seen a million games. I wondered, like, were you thinking this is really special while it's happening, or it sounds like yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, quite aware and cognizant of it being special, and because it just doesn't happen every day. That somebody comes up and dominates in their major league start. And when it is, it's usually like the Steven Strasburg, can't wait for the debut, and he's going to come up and strike out 14. Paul Skeens is on his way. You go down the list of pitchers, very few guys show up with an expectation of dominating. And so when you have a guy who isn't even expected to be on your roster come up and dominate, I don't know, I love Field of Dreams, right? That's like one of my favorite movies, and I love it because of the storytelling and the nostalgia of it all, and it kind of gave me that feeling of like anything's possible in this game, and all you need is an opportunity, and he got an opportunity. I wish he would have got more opportunities, but at that same time, what he got to experience that day, so many guys who put the uniform on come and go, and they never get anything close to that. So I'm glad that he has that, and that's something he can share with his girls, and that's something he can share with his family for the rest of his life. It was really fun. This is one of my favorite things. Like, through all of that, right? This is why another reason I love him. This dude's so awesome. Oh, after we won that game and we got on a plane, we went to St. Louis, and we were having a show dinner. We're gonna go to. I think we were going to. I want to believe it was Morton's. We went to Morton's in outside of St. Louis, a little town outside of St. Louis. They had a Morton's there. So there's a few of us going. Phil Nevin. Believe maybe Kerry Wood. I can't remember everybody who was there. We had a few guys at the party, at the dinner. Ryan Terry, all this stuff. So we're sitting down and we're getting ready to have dinner, and Phil has this he starts getting allergies, really bad, like allergy season allergies. And here's Ryan O'Malley, the young guy, and they showed up. Rich Hill they come to the dinner, and Phil was an ornery veteran who liked to dominate or establish that I'm a veteran, right? And Ryan walks in and he goes, "Hey, O'Malley, go to CVS and get me some Afrin." And here's a guy who just shoved for 8 innings against the Astros after his first start. Like, you're talking like highest of podiums. Everything's feeling great. You're doing awesome. And now you're told to go get in. And he goes, "Well, how?" And he goes, "I don't know, get a cab." And in that moment, Ryan didn't even hesitate. He said, "No problem. I got it." And he got in a cab and he drove to CVS. He brought back some Afrin. And when he did that, though, it was really funny because, there's all these little things. When he did that, everybody wanted to order food. And because I think of how he responded, Phil said, "We're not ordering food. Not until O'Malley comes back." The guy just shoved in the big leagues. It was like this really funny, veteran rookie.
Yin-yang.
You just had great success, but I'm going to test you a little bit to see if you're going to be a real rookie and do what the veteran says. And then when you do, instant respect. And it was like he went from rookie to "we're going to put you at the bottom" to instantly you're on your peers level, all within the span of 5 minutes. And it was really awesome to watch. And I remember thinking, I don't know what's going to happen with Ryan O'Malley. I don't know if he's going to keep starting in the big leagues. I don't know if he's going to keep playing the big leagues. But whatever happens in life, he's going to be successful and he's going to do great because he's got this kind of attitude. And it was just like a true mark of his character of doing whatever it takes. And I just loved it. I loved it almost as much as the 8 shutout innings itself, because it was just like, yep, that's him. Again, just being there, being a good teammate. He's just a special person.
What an incredible story. The Afrin story, I guess that's what it's going to be called now. Do you remember this?
Now that he brought it up, it absolutely, I do remember that. And he's spot on. Phil Nevin was just kind of like this ornery guy that just wanted to put someone in place. He'd been in the big leagues a long time, just an older guy. But he played first that day. I mean, I still could probably go around the horn and name all the guys who started in that game, and he was one of the guys. And it's spot on, man. He definitely challenged me. And I honestly, like, looking back, I didn't even look at it as like him challenging me. I wanted to be in the big leagues, whatever that meant. And
sure.
I just, my parents raised me just to, it feels kind of weird to say this, but like, respect someone that's been there, done that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whether it's your elders or, just respect people. And Phil was that guy. And there was a group of veterans on that team that I definitely respected. And so, but he's spot on. Like, from that moment on, not that I pitched the game that I did, but just to go to those dinners afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of seniority. There's a lot of shit talking, whatever you want to, and can you handle yourself in that moment?
Yeah.
That's a big part of sports, and that's a big part of life, like Ryan said, and that's a big part of the big leagues, for better or for worse. So
do you feel like it's typical of rookies to be taken under the the big guys' wings that quickly, or you just got in there because of that? You showed who you were and they just accepted you.
I don't think it's because of the game. I definitely think that it's a personality thing that because if you go there with the other attitude that Ryan kind of alluded to, like if he would have been like, screw you, I just pitched a shutout, I'm not going there. I do think that it would have been different, and
absolutely, and
it would have been a different welcome or not welcome at that moment. And so for the rest of the time I was up there, I definitely felt like I was a part of the group, and there wasn't. I mean, Ryan called out that moment, but I didn't necessarily know at the time that he was testing me. I was just like, man,
I'll do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
You want some effort? I got you.
Yeah.
That's a great story, man. All right, here we go. Ryan Dempster, anything is possible. You've seen a million games. I wondered, like, were you thinking this is really special while it's happening, or it sounds like yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, quite aware and cognizant of it being special, and like, because it just doesn't happen every day. That somebody comes up and dominates in their major league start. And when it is, it's usually like the Steven Strasburg, can't wait for the debut, and he's going to come up and strike out 14. Paul Skeens is on his way. Right. You go down the list of pitchers. Very few guys show up with an expectation of dominating, and so when you have a guy who isn't even expected to be on your roster come up and dominate, I don't know, I love Field of Dreams, right? That's like one of my favorite movies, and I love it because of the storytelling and the nostalgia of it all, and it kind of gave me that feeling of like anything's possible in this game, and all you need is an opportunity, and he got an opportunity. I wish he would have got more opportunities. But at that same time, what he got to experience that day, so many guys who put the uniform on come and go, and they never get anything close to that. So I'm glad that he has that, and that's something he can share with his girls, and that's something he can share with his family for the rest of his life.
So cool. You got anything?
Man, he's a great guy, and he's actually someone that I still keep in touch with. He comes out to Arizona for spring training. He's still very involved in the Cubs, and still picks up the phone when I call. We text quite a bit. They do a festival here, and he's just a great guy. And he's somebody like just to tell a little story just about in the off season. He had a great house right there next to Wrigley. He was like just blocks from Wrigley. He was like living the Wrigley neighborhood lifestyle instead of like driving off work. So I'll never forget, like, hey, in the off season, dude, who stays here? Like, well, this is a beautiful place. Like, he's like, nobody. I'm like, well, I live in Illinois, man. I'm happy to come up to hang out and house sit for you. Believe it or not, dude, the guy opened the door. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Hey, here's the keys. Here's the garage door opener. Like, anytime I wanted to go to Chicago during that off season, he's like, stay at my house. He's just a great person. And I love that, we had that time together, and I still feel like we're still connected.
That's awesome. I got to piggyback on your story here. So, another guest, and you would know the name, Dusty Bensko, lives right by him, and apparently sees Dempster at the playground all the time, where their daughters play. And he said the next time he sees him, he's going to go up, and now he has an in because he's going to know about the podcast. So isn't that crazy?
Oh man,
Crazy stuff.
He's a great guy. The Canadian man. He's a Canadian.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. So just those are great comments. It's great to hear.
That Canadian hospitality. Okay.
Yeah.
This next one is going to be Ryan Dempster Karma. Here we go.
No, and I think we just kept in touch over the years, whether that's via text messages or phone calls or bump into each other randomly somewhere. And I just think when people are like that, I'm a very good judge of walking into a room. I'm a good poker player. I walk into a room and can quickly evaluate a situation as to, who are the fun people to be around, who are the ones who are a little over the top. I think just years of making appearances and doing that, instantly, sure. You just gravitate towards the type of person he was, and even in that moment, he was so humble through it all, and he was just like enjoying the ride, and anything he was asked to do, he did. And I'm just like, these are the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with in life, let alone on a team. On a team, it became easy really fast, and he was only there for a little bit, which, that's the nature of the beast sometimes. But, in life, those are the kind of people that whoever he's going to run into, whether that's in business, whether that's a family member, an in-law, a friend, you're a better person being around him. It's just how he is. And it's, his story is incredible. It's really special, and I'm glad that you're sharing it with people because it needs to be heard.
Better person to be around him, man. What an incredible thing to hear from Ryan Dempster. You got anything?
It's just, it's just humble. Like, I don't actually have a ton of words.
I know.
I love that. Yeah.
Love hearing it. Let's go. He was the one with the ball, Ryan Dempster.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, in moments like what happened to Ryan, and moments, not what happened to him, what he was able to do out there. Because at the end of the day, you can talk about all the baseball gods and, karma and all those kind of things. He was the one with the ball in his hand. He was the one making the pitches. And in that moment,
right,
whatever that time looked like to him, whatever, that was, it was almost like a Billy Chappell-esque moment, in that movie Perfect Game with Kevin Costner. It's just like, I'm sure things were fast at times, but at other times it probably slowed down a lot for him. And when you watch something like that, like I remember being in the dugout, on the railing of the dugout, looking at guys going, is this really happening? Like, holy cow. Like, dude, O'Malley's carbon, like that, it seemed like a movie. It didn't seem real. It seemed like something that was fate or destiny.
Everything he's talking about is what I hoped he would say. Like, if I could have written a script for Ryan Dempster, like he nailed it. I was like, oh man, like just to have he saw it as romantic as I see it, as everyone that has known your story sees it. That is so cool to hear a true big leaguer like him see it how he does there. That was so special. You got anything?
You can't put it into words like what that day felt like. Like I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. At the same time, you work your whole, I guess life. In my instance, loved the baseball, wanted to be a major league player, and to have a moment like that I can hang on to. And like Ryan said, I wish it could have had more, but just to have one, if it could be one, that's a pretty cool one to hang on to.
Right.
And it's crazy. You still hear literally every year being some young pitcher will get called up throughout the year. It happens every year, right? And it feels like people just start Googling stuff and like, hey, what's a debut, the best debut, whatever. And I kid you not, every year since that, I feel like someone's texted me like, hey, they're talking about you. It's been brought up. And in fact, like in the line of work that I'm in now, it's not in baseball, but Bob Brinley was the announcer with us at the Cubs at that game. He's now at the Arizona Diamondbacks. here locally. And just last year, we have a coworker that's from Phoenix. He now lives in Carlsbad. He's a big Diamondbacks fan and was listening to the game while at his desk. And Bob started sharing again. A kid was pitching, and he started telling the whole story. And my coworker screenshot it, however you can screenshot a radio recording and sent it to me. He's like, "Are you kidding me? I didn't even know about this." And so that just happened last year, which is I don't know, 19 years from almost the day. It's pretty cool that kind of still pops up.
You know what it's an off the wall thought, but I was thinking today on my walk, have you ever pondered this? What if you never got called up, and what if your career ended at AAA? You had a strong, pro career. You were a AAA guy that just couldn't quite get over the hump. I wonder how many doors have opened for you, because next to, Ryan O'Malley is a big leaguer forever, and a big leaguer rings different than minor league guy, right? I've always wondered that. Have you ever thought about that?
It's something that it's a good thing I don't have to think about, right? Because I got the opportunity. But
right?
you're right, Blake. Your head definitely goes there, and often people are like, "Oh, you played baseball," and they're like, "Did you make it?" Right? That's like it's not like how many years. It's more of like, "Hey, did you make it?" Like that. That's did you play, and then did you make it? And so
you made it.
And I made it. And so I recently you had a clip from AD Alan Dunn. He made that comment. It's like, and he was a great pitcher at Alabama. He played at Alabama, played in the minor leagues, and he's like, I never made it. Yeah. And for me to be able to say I'm a big leaguer, even if it's only 2 games, I don't know, man. It definitely hits a little bit differently.
And you're in that elusive club. I want to say, when I was speaking to Rich Hill, he talked about it's maybe like 22 or 23,000 big leaguers couldn't even fill a stadium of all time. So it's such an elite, exclusive club that you're a part of, even though it was 2 games. Ryan O'Malley is a big leaguer forever, and you deserve it, buddy. That's so cool.
There's the other side of it. Some of my buddies that I grew up with in Athens, that they'll always keep me humble, right? They'll be like, "Dude, it was one game, man. Like, it was one game, right? Like, dude, I mean, why are we even talking about this? It was like one game. Like, chill out. Like, let's go." So I love that too, though, right? It's like they're my boys, from Athens that I grew up with. And they're just like, dude, I know him as Ryan. Like, let's get over this. So
that's perfect. Next one is going to be what you put into the universe here. This is a cool clip. Here we go.
Yeah, I knew that he grew up, just south of Wrigley. I knew that he grew up, he was born in Springfield, and but I didn't know like those stories until later. Obviously what a huge family of Cubs fans he came from, and all that kind of stuff, and that's magical stuff. Like I grew up in a small town outside of Vancouver. I went to Vancouver Canadians games. Cool. That would have been exciting. It would have been great to go play for the Vancouver Canadians, but to grow up that close to Wrigley Field and say one day I'm going to play for the Cubs, and then you go out there and have that moment. That's baseball gods aligning for you right there.
That's a line, dude.
If you're a bad person,
yes, this doesn't happen to you. It doesn't happen to you, does it? There is a thing.
What you put out into the universe, you will get back. We all can make mistakes. We're all not perfect human beings. We fail on so many levels daily. I do. I'm a father of 5. I'm constantly trying to better myself. But when you're a good person, somehow, some way, the universe will find a way of paying you back. And, when it comes to what Ryan got paid back in baseball, that was what he got paid back with. And there's a lot of guys who would give anything to have that moment that played this game.
That's incredible. Chills, man. That one really gives me chills. How does that make you feel?
Oh man, that's how you try to live life, and at least I do, right? And my parents were a testament of that. My grandma, a lot of my immediate family, and they showed me the way, and I try to instill that into my kids, my girls, and the community that I'm in now, and man, I love that, and I still think about that. It's like, Dude, I grew up a Cub fan. My favorite player was Ryan Sandberg, the original Rhino, and now my nickname's Rhino. And I every time I see a Cubs jersey, I'm just like, man, dude, like, are you kidding me? I grew up a Cub fan, and then to get to have my name, in their all-time roster, dude. And my girls, they're everywhere. We just went to New York City, and
saw pictures, yeah.
Yeah, and we flew through Chicago to get to New York City, and in Chicago at Midway, they have like all this Cub memorabilia, and the girls were like, "Dad, look!" Like they're Cub fans because of it, and so it's just cool to go down and to reflect back and be like, wow, and God is good, man. God's good.
Oh man, I love to hear that. And I've been knowing you for a long time, and I've seen you in all kind of situations, and I've known people that have accomplished way less in baseball that are not humble like you, and it's easy to get a big head in baseball and think you're something special. And I've never seen you treat anyone differently or look down on anyone, and always been just the nicest, kindest person. And you've been awesome to me a million times over. I could do a whole podcast on how you stepped up for me. So you are the best. And like Dempster said, if you're a bad person, things like this don't happen to you. When you put good things into the world and you repeatedly, are a good person and do good things are going to come back to you. And I just think that you got rewarded in the best way, dude. So I love that. If you got anything else, I'm going to go to my next clip here. It's a funny one.
Let's do it.
Okay, and I've got multiple clips like this, so just prepare yourself. This is going to be Ryan Dempster. You already know where I'm going? You got an idea?
I got a couple ideas, but we'll see.
This is going to be Ryan Dempster, Hall of Fame. Comment to O'Malley in part one about how he might have only had, one major league game, but he's first ballot Hall of Famer in the looks department. Do you have any comment about that?
I was severely, I don't know if jealous is the right word, because I'm not, it was more like I'm just envious of how handsome he was. He's like one of those guys where it's like, wow, dude, like, you're the people that you see on a billboard, Yeah. Like, but you're in our locker room now. Like, we all like to believe we're good looking, but like Ryan O'Malley is one of the most handsome dudes I've ever seen in my life. And then on top of it, he's as kind as he is. I'm like, he's the kind of guy you just like hope your daughter runs into one day and marries.
That's the truth. I used to run around with him a little bit, and it was the wildest experience, the amount of attention we would get when he was, it felt like I was with the president or something, and just people coming up to us, women coming up to us, and they didn't care about anyone besides him. And he was never got a big head, the nicest guy, so humble. So that was always really cool. I thought that was
he had everything.
He
had a great body, he had perfect hair, and he was handsome himself. It was like, people watch Days of Our Lives and General Hospital and Young and the Restless all the time, and you never see one of those people out in public. You know what I mean? It's like you don't bump into Victor Newman somewhere. You don't run into these soap opera actors. And it's like, that's what I think people probably felt like when you're out, you're like, you double take. You know how many people I see double take at him? They'd be like, whoa, who's that guy? Guys and girls, by the way. Everybody, like, who's that guy? That's got to be an actor. You look at that.
Yes.
Yeah. Was he made in a lab? He's just so strikingly handsome.
Oh man, is that the most perfect clip? We've got more of those, buddy. So just buckle up for that. So
man, I don't know what to say to that. Other than it beats the alternative, I guess. Right?
Right? Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I don't. What can you say to that but laugh? All right. This is going to be our last one. Ryan Dempster. Love this kid. Here we go. Is it just like the most amazing little part of baseball, little romantic thing?
Yeah, and the series events, not just Rich Hill, the amount of people who were available the next day was limited, because the next day when he pitched, I pitched 2 innings in that game as well. So before Rich Hill, I was the closer of the team, and I threw a couple innings as well. So it was like, we didn't score, and that led to Rich, end up pitching 3 innings, I believe it was. And then, now all of a sudden it's like, well, who's going to pitch tomorrow, And because Wade had taken that turn, now it's not him. And I don't think he was quite ready yet. Maybe he would have been ready on short notice. But there's all these, things that happened. And then we heard rumblings that, O'Malley's starting, in Round Rock, I believe it was. And it's like, okay. Well, O'Malley's going to come up, because he wasn't tearing up AAA.
He had about a 4 ERA.
Yeah, he was having a solid year. Like I liken that to when I got called up to the big leagues. It was the same way. I wasn't like the most dominant pitcher in the minor leagues. I just got called up and it ended up working out. But it was just one of those things where it's like, well, he's fresh and he's ready to go and it's close. We don't have to worry about it. We got a game the next day. And I'm out with Rich Hill and, we're kind of celebrating, having a little bit of fun. And then we just decided to call him up, and we kind of had heard through the grapevine that he was going to be the guy. And he just like couldn't believe it. It's kind of funny that like two players are calling you up. It reminded me of the time I got called up my second time in '99. My dad called me in Calgary and told me he saw something on the internet before my manager had ever told me. So it was kind of that same sort of thing. And then, full disclosure, I mean, we kind of felt like, this could be tough. It's a tough lineup to face for him to just walk in and face these guys,
Yes, right.
Against Andy Pettitte in Houston. Let's see how many more things we can put against O'Malley's,
I know.
odds of winning this game. And he shoves. 8 shutout innings, absolutely carves them up, and attack the strike zone. I think that's the biggest thing. He didn't strike out a lot of guys, but it was just he was throwing a ton of strikes. He had great movement on his sinker. His changeup was good. It was just everything. Just to see it all played out. The happiness of a crew, not just myself, the entire team was just fired up for this dude. Because the minute you meet Ryan, you gravitate. Hey, he's just he's such a nice, personable, fun-loving guy. He's handsome. He's charming. And you're like, I love this kid, and then he goes out and does that. And it was just storybook, really, really storybook telling, because that was it. That was one more. And then that was it for his career. And it's just incredible to think that took place for him.
And that concludes our Ryan Dempster stuff. He was incredible. I had an absolute blast talking to him. That was a thrill of a lifetime for me. And, I was a little bit nervous going into it, and then instantly I knew that we were just two baseball dudes talking baseball, and like that was the equalizer. So thank you again to Ryan Dempster. That was incredible. Do you have anything you want to say to him, or any more comments before we move on here?
He's great. I said it at the beginning. When you go up and you've heard all the stories of like guys either being a complete asshole to you or guys that really take you under the wing. And he was absolutely one of those guys that took me under the wing and was like, hey, come with us over here. Come with us, do that. Yeah, I remember him taking me in spring training the next year. I got to go to big league spring training. He's still there. And we had, that moment or that end of the season together and started to form that relationship. And that guy's a beast. So he's like, hey, let's go on a run. And, dude, he left me in the dust. Like I had no chance. And
really?
And Blake, like I like to like pride myself on,
absolutely
pushing the limits. Dude, that guy had another gear for sure. Yeah. That's funny that brought me a memory of another story. About Ryan Dempster, and you said he's a prankster, and so when I went to so had my debut, we fly back to Chicago. Usually the day after the start, you go on a long run to like get the lactic acid, like a long jog, a long run, and in the minor leagues, like you have no issues of like, dude, I'm just gonna run around like. I'm going to run the stadium, or I'm going to run through, I don't know, Round Rock, Texas, or what other little. Yeah, no one cares. No one knows who you are. No one.
Right.
You got anywhere you can run, right? So now I'm in Wrigley Field, and I'm like, dude, Ryan? Where do you run? Where do you go? And he's like, he tells me, he's just like, go down to this street, turn here, turn right. This is a great path. So, of course, I listen to my guy, right? And I got Cub gear on, which probably doesn't help. Anyway, that's probably a rookie on me, but
Cubs official gear.
Yeah, right. And so I take off down the path. I take down this path, and next thing you know, there's like rainbow flags all over the place, and
Pride Parade.
And I'm running down this street, and Ryan alluded to it earlier. Guys will get a turn of the head every now and again. He takes me through Boys Town.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
On purpose?
On purpose. on purpose. So I'm like running through, and I'm like these guys are like turning around, checking me out, and I'm just like, where am I? Where am I?
This is great. Yeah.
And I get back, and he's like, how was the run? He's just laughing. And so I'm like, dude, you're a piece of work, man. And so yeah, two running stories. One, him blowing the doors off me, like had no chance, and then him running me through Boys Town there in Wrigleyville.
Well, you must have been the belle of the ball in Boys Town. And then also, did you hear? I put out a clip, and Dempster's awesome. Like, at the very end, I asked him a funny question. Did you see that? The ninja question I asked him?
Yeah, I did.
And
He's that big, man. He's that
instantly
dude.
knew. Yeah, great sense of humor. I hit him with it completely dry. He knew instantly that I was joking around with him and gave me an incredible response. So shout out again to that guy. He's incredible. Moving on now, and thank you for that story too, running through Boys Town. That's great, dude. We've got Michael Barrett, we've got Rich Hill, and then we've got your wife. Dealer's Delight, who do you want to go to next here, buddy? And now a few words from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Glisten Heating and Air. You can reach them at 217-341-3129 or visit glistenheatingandair.com. That's GLISSON. This is owned and operated by Gibbs Gleason himself, a member of the 2000 Pleasant Plains baseball team that were state champs. That's the Dusty Bensko era, former guest. This guy's in the baseball community. He helps coach his son, who's in the local travel scene. This truly is the pros pro for HVAC in the area. I mean, this is a who's who of former pros that have used him. Let's talk about Corey Erickson, Jason Worth, Ryan Murphy, Jason Knadler, Justin Knadler, Brad Owens, Greg Morantz, Jason Washam, Eric Easley. His reviews speak for themselves. Call Glisten Heating and Air. They care about your air. We appreciate you.
We are also brought to you by the Crafted Stag, located at 3455 Freedom Drive, 217-698-6300. Your wardrobe is about to get a lot more interesting. The Crafted Stag Supply is Springfield's newest and most exciting destination for discerning gentlemen seeking quality clothing, accessories, and lifestyle goods. Nestled in the heart of Parkway Point shopping area, we offer a unique and one-of-a-kind shopping experience featuring barber services, bar refreshments, entertainment, and more. Guys, I can't tell you how excited I am to be partnering with Crafted Stag. This is Grant Hammer, of course. Great family friend. Actually, my first ever organized baseball was sponsored by his dad. We were the Hammer Slammers. And I'm very close with his younger brother, Jordan. Jordan did the logo for the post-game spread. Grant is a great guy. What he's doing out there, the Crafted Stag, is unique. It is tailored for, great clothing, a great experience. It's for men. I love what he's doing. Couldn't be happier to be a part of this. Go see the Crafted Stag for all your needs that I just mentioned. Barber services, bar refreshments, the greatest clothes, entertainment. I know Grant is always out there seeking better styles, looking for new things. So stay up with this guy. He's incredible. Go see the Crafted Stag. We appreciate you.
We are also brought to you by Sheehan & Sheehan Lawyers, located at 1215 South 4th Street, Suite A. They can be contacted at 217-544-0701. I'm talking Pat Sr., Pat Jr., and Willie. They can be contacted for adoption needs, agricultural law, business and commercial law, estate planning, real estate planning, taxation, traffic and minor traffic offenses, personal injury, wrongful death suits. And I grew up with Willie playing baseball on the Southwest Braves. We were state champs. He played high school baseball and soccer at SHG. Pat Jr. was an accomplished baseball player at SHG, SCI, and finally the U of I. We really appreciate the Sheens here. Love this guy. Love this family. Great, great family. So go see these guys. Appreciate you.
We are also brought to you by Safe House Home Inspections. They can be reached at 217-350-0350 or info@safehouseil.com. And of course, I'm talking about Dave and Jim House. Dave being the Lanphier head baseball coach. I played ball with him for the Springfield Pride, played against him growing up. He's an outstanding guy. Dave and Jim his dad have over 30 years of experience between them. They offer home inspections, termite inspections, radon testing, septic inspections, water quality test, pre-sale home inspections. And there's also $25 off for new customers. If you have any need for any of these services, Dave House with Safe House Home Inspections is who you need to go see. We appreciate you guys. Thank you. We are also brought to you by GT Performance Consulting, where athletes gain new perspective, and the greater than mindset is the motto. This, of course, is the former baseball great Greg Taylor at Springfield High School, Forest Park, University of Louisville, and Yankees draftee. He can be reached at gtperformanceconsulting.com, connect at gtperformanceconsulting.com, or 314-250-4748. He offers a myriad of services, including the starting line, one-on-one, the Huddle Up program, and disc profiling. GT Performance Consulting is a sport and mental performance consulting practice dedicated to helping athletes reach their full potential both on and off the field. In today's world of sports, the pressure to perform is at an all-time high and has created a greater need for mental performance support for athletes. GT is here to help bring new perspective to athletes, parents, coaches, and support systems. Specializing in programs that cater to each athlete's specific needs, from stress management to confidence-building techniques, GT Performance Consulting focuses on the well-being of athletes so they can maximize their athletic experiences. Guys, Greg was a former guest. He really went through it in baseball with mental stuff and pressure, and it's become a full circle passion for him. Please use him if you have young athletes, even for yourself. It's very beneficial. It's a huge part of the game these days. We really appreciate GT Performance Consulting coming on board. Thanks, Greg. We are also brought to you by Grab a Java. They have 3 locations located at 1702 South 6th Street, 300 Chatham Road, and 3115 Headley Road, with hours Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, 6:30 to 6 p.m., and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is my favorite Springfield coffee spot. This is Bill Legge, a former neighbor of mine. It's been really cool watching Grab a Java grow. I think very highly of this man. He's a family man. He takes care of his mother. He's done really good things with Grab a Java. They also have baked goods and some of the best coffee around. Go see Grab a Java. We really appreciate your support.
We are also brought to you by Cardinal Cleaning. They can be reached at cardinalcleaningonline.com and 217-679-6567. The owner-operator, Adam Springer, local baseball dude, family friend, stand out at Chatham Glenwood in the mid-'90s. Also had a stellar career at Rend Lake and Kentucky Wesleyan. Cardinal Cleaning can take care of any cleaning needs you have. Home, business, restaurant, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever you need, they can take care of you. Get a hold of Cardinal Cleaning. They'll do the rest.
Let's go. We talked a little bit about Rich Hill, them making the call. Let's go with my man, Rich Hill.
Oh man, can you give me a little bit about you guys' friendship, relationship before we get going? Because you guys live together a ton. You're great friends. Just give me a little bit.
Yeah, in fact, you just said he's still doing it at the Royals. He gets called, and he was just at the house like 3 weeks ago, hanging here with us.
Yeah.
So I mean, man. Wow, we could do a whole podcast on Rich Hill and I running through the minor leagues and then our time in the big leagues. But he is an incredible person. He has not changed one bit when it comes to his big league career. And it started. He was I believe a 4th rounder out of Michigan, and we both ended up in Boise, Idaho, our first year, and lockers right next to each other. And you're just like, everybody in the whole locker room is like their first experience. And so you just don't know what you don't know. And sure. I tell you, Rich Hill and I hit it off from that moment, it just being locker mates in our first season. And a lot of people, and I kind of alluded to earlier with Dempster, Rich is a left-handed pitcher as well, and we're in the same draft year, and we could absolutely have been complete enemies and looked at each other as competition, and that was never ever it never crossed my mind. And I would like to think the same for him. We were on the road. You always have a roommate. We were always roommates.
It's your boy.
I felt we played every level together. Boise.
Yeah.
We played at Lansing. We lived in a sky rise in Daytona in the Florida League, and then we lived together in Jackson, Tennessee, in AA, and then we had multiple apartments together in Des Moines, and then I'll never forget, like when he got called up a couple years before me, our season was over, and again, being from Illinois, I would drive up and stay with Rich in his hotel, and he was in the big leagues, and I was a Cub fan, and I was a Rich Hill fan, and we I was at his wedding, he was at my wedding, we still, when he went through some stuff with his lost a son, like I was there, like giving him his condolence, and like I said, he was here. He went to my daughter's oldest club game. When he shows up, he's like a celebrity, right? And he was just there wanting to hang out with me and my family. Like that's just Rich Hill. In the small amount of time that we have, like that's like I could go on and on telling Rich Hill stories, but.
So this is a true brother for you, a true lifelong friend. This isn't just some guy that you played with for a few years. This is a brotherhood, yeah? So I'm hearing it.
Absolutely. My immediate family, like my family is very supportive, and playing closer to home, like my Aunt Debbie would come visit us, and Rich was a part of hanging out. My Uncle Mike, he was a big Cardinal fan and would give us all a hard time. But he would come to every year to spring training, and Rich would be hanging out with us. So my immediate family all love Rich Hill and like is a part of our journey. And still to this day, because he's still playing every year, they're like, "Hey Ryan, what's Rich doing?" Like, and for the last 10 years. For the last 10 years, I'm like, dude, I don't know. I thought he'd be done 10 years ago, and he's still playing.
Right. Can you speak to how incredible that is, that he's a 45-year-old man still doing it, still capable of doing it? I just can't even imagine doing that, suiting him up like that.
I mean, there's little things that, like, just playing catch with my daughters, or like, the other day on I think it was even Father's Day, like my lower back, like, tightened up. I just think of like those little things, and he's out there competing against the best of the best,
right,
like at a high level, and I'm just absolutely. Like, wow. We always said, like, because we were always catch partners, right? He was always catch partners, and that dude had, like, I'd have a sore arm or whatever. He never, like, he was just he could just sling it, man, and he just had an arm, man. It was
I even asked him, I was like, are you doing like a LeBron James thing where you're putting like $1 million into your body every year to keep it going? And he was like, no, I essentially I've got a great arm and I've stayed healthy, and it's just the little things. And he didn't really have like an answer of like, this is why I'm still able to do this, but just blessed in a lot of ways. Not that I'm taking away from his hard work and dedication, but some people just have arms that can keep going.
Yeah. He there's no question he's a hard worker, but no, like he was, like I said, he was here, and he's like, dude, I want to go eat some pizza. Because I'm thinking, all right, this dude's training. He's getting back in the big leagues, and like, let's steak and some vegetables. Like, let's like take care of this guy. And he's like, no. I want to go get some pizza. I'm like,
well, did you shame him to the classic O'Malley style, or what you got?
No. I mean, I do, if I have a weakness, it is pizza.
That's what it is.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Rachel said that your weakness is ice cream. Are you an ice cream guy too?
I have three. There's three.
What you got?
Pizza, ice cream, and I like a beer or a cocktail. Those are my three, like, down. The shame of trying to be an elite eater or taking care of myself. So those are the three. So, anymore, it's in moderation. It's in moderation. Okay. You can't not do it. You got to just do it in moderation.
For those of you that don't know, there was a funny story in part 1 or part 2. O'Malley in his younger years was known for being a little heavy-handed with friends about their nutritional habits at times. I mean, it was always in good. You were coming from a good place, but you would straight up tell someone, this is not a good thing to be eating. And I remember you ruined cheeseburgers for me for a few years. I've since, gotten back to cheeseburgers, but that's great to hear, my man. Do you want to get into some Rich Hill clips here? I've got a great one.
Yeah, let's
You ready?
do it.
This one is friendship over the years. And this guy was incredible too. I really appreciate it. And you know what? Thank you to Rich Hill for giving me time during the season. I know that it's hard to schedule with guys when they got off days or, 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there. So thank you again to Rich Hill for giving me some time. So Rich Hill, friendship over the years.
Yeah, Ryan and I, being in the Cubs organization and coming up through the Cubs organization together, had a kind of an instant friendship, from the beginning, and just, both being left-handed and just being able to, be on the same journey together, I guess, through the minor leagues, and at the same time, we just, developed that friendship over the years of playing, and became close over the years and in the minor leagues, and living together and spring trainings and also during the season, and it was something that fortunate to from my perspective, just to have somebody to lean on in times of times when you're going through the minor leagues where it's not as easy as things always seem, I guess.
Sure.
If that makes sense. It seems like maybe from the outsider's perspective that we're just sitting there and we're playing baseball and everything's, kind of living out a childhood dream and fun and all that stuff. But it also comes with its ups and downs, and to have somebody like Ryan and myself to be able to, talk about things and kind of gauge where we're at and how we're doing, it's been great.
Sounds very much like he feels the same about you as you feel about him, man. An absolute brotherhood. You got anything? You want me to keep rolling on some clips here, my man?
I mean, yeah, we had something special. There's no question about it. And some great stories. And he's right. Like, when you're away from home, you're away from a lot of family, and it's a grind. Like he said, it's long summers. There's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of like days where you're like, man, I don't know if I can do this. And when you have a guy like that, and I think he felt like that with me, like there's no doubt about it. To have that person that you can lean on throughout the season, throughout the seasons, it definitely made it doable for sure.
Love that. This next one I got is going to be Rich Hill break the news, and it was really cool hearing Dempster and both Rich Hill talk about, because we got to hear your perspective of they called you, but I wanted to hear how they went. He's got a great little clip in here. Let's go. Break the news.
And then let's start with this. He said that you and Dempster kind of broke the news to him. Do you remember that?
Yeah. We were on a petty cart on the way back to the hotel after the game, actually, in Houston. And we had heard, after the game, we had won the game. So it was a good mood in the clubhouse after the game, and then it was even better when we found out that Rhino was going to be making the start the next day against Andy Pettit. It just, it's, to your point, it's so romantic, it's so great, it's everything that's perfect about baseball. So I think that and we were riding back, so we decided to call Rhino, and he was sleeping, so we woke him up.
How'd that call go?
I just remember him being kind of like out of it, and obviously he was asleep. I think it was like probably 2:00 in the morning where he was.
Yeah.
I think our game ended up getting over at like maybe 1, so maybe it was 1:30. I don't know. It was late. Uh-huh. And so Demp and I called Rhino and broke the news to him, and he thought we were joking around with him, I think.
Oh, man.
So,
yeah.
I said that would be the cruelest thing ever if anybody ever did that.
Man.
But yeah, I know that I got some heat for it the next day from Jim Henry in the locker room for
making
that phone call. Yeah, I think he asked me if I wanted to be the GM.
That's
So
incredible.
yeah.
And it's
That's our break the news clip. I didn't. It didn't even occur to me that they were the ones who broke it to you when it wasn't the GM. Like they were the ones, right?
Yeah, they were absolutely the one. I mean, they woke me up. I had no like. I was watching the game, right?
Or your manager, yeah.
I was watching the game, and it got late, and I was like, man, I'm going to bed. And then to wake up to them guys calling me, right? I was just like, what? Like,
What? Yeah. Why?
I haven't heard any of this. And
Yeah.
like Rich said, like that like guys, if that's not true, like you guys are complete assholes to do this to me.
Yeah.
And so, but to his point, or like I could not, I struggled to go back to sleep because then, like in my
How could
head,
you?
like I need to go to sleep, and then and it's like, dude, am I gonna pitch in the big leagues? Like,
Right. Yeah.
nonstop. Is it happening? Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that was it. And then at 6 o'clock in the morning, I got a knock on my door
Right.
from the manager, and
You're like, I already know.
And I mean, at that point, yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. So
Did you play it dumb, or did you act like you are, or did you tell them you already knew?
no, I was just like, yeah, no, I definitely
Cool.
played. I played it cool. Like I didn't say like I already know, like my bags are packed, right? No, I didn't do any of that. It was,
Yeah. Wait, were your bags packed? Were you packing in the middle of the night? Like, I'm going.
no,
Okay.
no,
Okay. No, I mean,
no.
after they told you, were you like, okay, I'm packing, I'm going?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I just tried to go, like I said, I tried to go back to sleep. Like that was, because I still did not know. I mean, those guys sounded like they were having a couple pops and having a good time. And I'm like, man,
yeah.
dude, I can't take this for, the green light that this is going to happen.
Oh man. Okay. Let's go to Rich Hill. I think we're alone now. This is a good clip to play.
Yeah, and it was amazing that it all played out the way it
Yeah.
did. Ryan and I, Dempster and I, were the last two guys in the bullpen, and he was singing "I Think We're Alone Now" in the bullpen to me. I vividly remember that because it had been I think a minute since I'd pitched out of the bullpen, so it was a little nerve wracking. And he always lightens the mood up and brings humor to the situation. I can't say enough about Ryan and who he is as a person, and just the way he goes about his business and family man and everything, and seeing everything with his family now. And we actually just get to see him. I got to see him a couple weeks ago, and
cool.
And just catch up. So that was really awesome.
Loved hearing that. I think we're alone now. I think is that Debbie Gibson, classic '80s hit.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It sounds like a Dempster thing. That's hilarious. I'm gonna move on unless you got anything.
Yeah, no, that's
Cool.
That's good.
All right, Rich Hill. He is grounded.
What stands out about O as a person that is worth talking about to you?
He's just genuine. I think that's the best way to put it. He's grounded. He has an incredible perspective on life. I think when, again, you're going through times, it's not so much the up times and the good times. It's the down times when you're looking for somebody to kind of lean on or have that commonality. And obviously baseball brought us that, but there was so much more through just the similar interests outside of baseball, and or family lifestyles that we had. So those were some of the things that brought us together, and really again just an incredible human being, just somebody that is really easy to talk to and very easy to get along with.
Love that. There's obviously a lot of love between you guys here. Next one I'm going to play is Dreams Come True, unless you have anything you want to add on that last clip.
Yeah, no, let's keep it rolling.
Dreams Come True, Rich Hill.
Did you know that he grew up, a Cubs fan and dreaming
Oh,
of
yeah.
Wrigley Field?
Oh, yeah, big time Cubs fan, yeah. And, I mean, I think that, again, that's just a dream come true and something that's so special that you never take away. And, again, it's one of the stories of perseverance, and just something that a lot of players out there can strive for and use as motivation, because I think there's only been 20 23,000 or so major league players.
Yeah.
So you still can't fill a major league stadium with as many major league players as there's been.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Pretty damn special.
So I always look for like a line that just like hits me when I'm listening to these things. That's going to be the name of it. I think we just named it. I think Dreams Come True might be part 3 here. Let's go. You got anything, or keep rolling?
No, I mean, I feel the same way, and about him. I mean, you sit as you're listening, you sit and kind of reflect on, man, all the ups and downs, and I mean, as Rich had it, and he's still playing. He's had a phenomenal career, but it has not gone without significant injuries and struggles, and I don't even know if many people know, but he had people call it the yips. He went through all of that and came out on the other side. A lot of people never conquer that.
Never come back. Never. Yeah. It's always with him. Good for him.
And he has conquered that. Like I said, he lost a son. He's had multiple surgeries on his arm. He's got a great arm, but I mean, the amount of, innings that he's put, so for him and I have always, and then I'll never forget, whenever I was pitching at Wrigley and I hurt my elbow, and after the game, I was really struggling. I knew my arm was going to be fine at some point. I knew whether it's surgery or just rehab, I did not worry about my work ethic to get back to where I wanted to be, but I knew that the opportunity, and I'll never forget in the parking lot at Wrigley Field, I was emotional, and Rich was just holding me, man, dude. And he didn't even have the words. He wasn't even saying anything. He just held me,
There. Yeah, for sure. No, I totally get that. Shout out to Rich Hill. What a guy. What a friend here. Let's move on to Rich Hill. No, it was special.
Did it feel special in the moment at all, or did it feel just kind of like another game?
No, it felt very special. It was very extremely unique, and I think just you talk about determination and grit and all the things that to be successful in the game of baseball or in the game of life, Ryan has that. His determination and drive that he showed during his career coming up and getting that opportunity, again, was everything that's great about baseball. And I think that's something that was beautiful about it, because here's a guy that gets called up and is pitching against the Hall of Famer, and one of the best pitchers of our generation, and a guy that we grew up watching and idolizing in a sense in the baseball world. So it was definitely a very special moment.
And absolutely shoves against him. That's just, man, gives me chills.
It was. Again, as you go through the Rolodex of memories in my head of games, and there's been a lot of them, but that one is right up there, and it stands out because it was so special.
Man, 20 plus years of big league games for this guy, and your game stands out as one of the special ones. That's pretty cool to hear, right? I mean, to me at least.
Oh man, but it's just a testimony of our friendship, no question. Still to this day.
All right, I told you I had multiple of these. We're gonna end with funny. Rich Hill again. This is first ballot Hall of Fame. Here we go. I'm sorry to do this to you, buddy. I just got to. Here we go.
Oh yeah. He's this model-looking guy. Did people ever get on him about his looks, or was that a funny thing that you guys messed with him about, or how'd that? You got any comments about that?
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, he was the he was the what do you call it? The belle of the ball. But he always he had all the looks. He's got all the looks. He's got the smile and the hair and the flow and everything, and it's great.
I told him in the first podcast that while he maybe only had one major league start, he's in the Hall of Fame for looks, and that got a good laugh from him.
He's first ballot.
First ballot, no doubt.
First ballot, yeah.
Okay, that concludes our Rich Hill clips, and let me thank that guy again for participating in this, giving me some of his time during his season. I really had an incredible time talking to him, and this was touching to hear from one of your closest friends and longtime big leaguer. You got anything on Rich Hill before we move on? Dick Mountain?
Yeah, he's just super special person. And like I said, he's a very humble guy himself. And so I continue to wish him luck. And he's got a son, Bryce Hill. Be on the lookout. The guy's I mean, he's I think he's going into high school, but lefty. Rich could hit now. Don't like Rich could hit, and Rich is a 2-time state champion in golf too. So the kid's an athlete, and so Bryce, his son, is, and it's cool. Just one more story about Rich. Like, you know, the guy's been in the big leagues a long time. That comes with a sacrifice of being away from your family, and you know, Bryce obviously he's like. I think Rich is probably his biggest fan, which is pretty cool. So like, it's like Rich is having a hard time leaving. He's been coaching his son. He's been coaching Bryce and love being a part of that because you miss a lot of that. And Rich loves, in the last 2 years, he hasn't went to spring training. So, and I think it's by design. I don't know if I'll ever really hear Rich's side of the story, but he wants to stay home and be with Bryce and be with Caitlin and have that moment as a dad. And when he got the call from the Royals of like, hey, let's, want to sign you, he went right to Bryce and was like, hey, man, should we do this? Should we do this? Right?
We.
And Bryce is like, Dad, of course you do. Like, you got to go. You got to go do this. So it's just it's pretty cool, like the sacrifice, but also, a lot of people don't see that side of it. They always see like Rick was a major leaguer. They don't see the dad sacrifice that. But like I said, Bryce is I think Rich is Bryce's biggest fan. So.
Oh, I love that. I've always wanted to ask you too. You ended up leaving baseball after you were doing some coaching because you were kind of wanting more time with your family and this, that, and that. But you ended up kind of, you were doing rookie ball, so you were kind of stationary, right? Is that kind of the end of your coaching career, mostly?
Well, that was by design.
Right, because you wanted to be stationary, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
My question being, if you can make the kind of money to support your family and live the kind of life you want to, if that money would have been there as a pitching coach in rookie ball, do you think you would still be in baseball, or it was time to go? No, it was time to go.
I knew all along that I've been a part of enough bus rides where I've seen coaches really struggling and being away from their family. I remember seeing, even before FaceTime was kind of real. I remember seeing Brad Holman, a great mentor, pitching coach of mine, like literally in tears, like missing his daughter's tennis matches and like really, really struggling with being away from that, missing those moments. Yeah. And there was, I could go on and on. I could name multiple of those. And I knew all along that I wanted to be a dad. I wanted to have a family. And I knew, as much as I loved baseball, I knew, like, I didn't think, and I still to this day don't know how possible it is to be like a super involved dad and be in baseball. There's obviously guys that do it and do it well, and there's creative ways, and I didn't know how possible it could be for me, and so I knew once I started a family, I had to do something different.
Good for you, man. I totally get that. And you hear stories, like I remember reading the Tony La Russa book, and he doesn't even bring his family with him. Like when he was managing, they would stay back in California, and he would totally focus on, his life and stuff like that. So it's an incredibly hard life to have a family and really be a present dad in. So I respect that decision, wholeheartedly, my friend. Moving on, you wanna go Michael Barrett and save Rachel for last here?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go Michael Barrett. Definitely had a special day, and even like the whole time I was up, and afterwards. Again, a guy that I keep in touch with. Great person.
That was incredible, and to kind of give a little bit of context on how I do things here, the whole, dominoes started to fall with Michael Barrett for this episode, because we had been texting back and forth. I was trying to convince you to come back for a part 3, and it was kind of like, okay, what are we going to talk about? And I started posting some reels from your last episode and tagged Michael Barrett, and he responded. It said something like, "Oh, that was a great moment," or something like that. And then I messaged him right away, and I was like, hey, you want to be a part of part 3? And then, start pitching him. And then once he was in, then it was like, okay, then we can pitch Dempster. Then we can pitch Rich Hill. And then all these guys are in. So, thank you to Michael Barrett for commenting on my Instagram post and now we're here. So, and he was incredible too. He had some of the best insight. I absolutely love hearing catchers' thoughts, how they see things, all the little intricacies of being a catcher. And he just had some incredible insight. So with no further ado, Michael Barrett, if you're ready, my friend.
Yeah.
Ready to go? All right.
Yeah,
Let's go. Just buy in. This is a great one to start with.
We didn't have the best season that year, but that's a little bit of a rivalry, or it was for us. The Astros edged us out in 2004 for the wild card, and they had an incredible pitching staff. So I remember going into that series, even though we were probably out of it mathematically at the time, it still felt like, that rivalry at its finest. They had Oswalt, Clemens, and Pettit going for the 3-game series. So as a player, you're gonna have to bear down to just get a sniff of first base.
Absolutely.
And thinking about how you're gonna come out. And I know that I didn't start the second game, but I ended up going in to catch. And it's one of the few times where I think they were all scoreless innings that I caught from the first game till the last inning. So I think it was like 27 scoreless. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how many scoreless innings it was, because Saturday was such a long game. It was 18, and I can't remember exactly when I went into the game. But I had a shutout with Zambrano the night before that on a Friday night. Then Saturday went in, and we went all the way to 18 innings scoreless. And then we had Ryan called up Sunday, and it was like, just thinking back on it, there weren't a lot of times where, as a catcher, I had that conviction that everything that I put down was going to work. But for that particular series and that particular moment, I remember thinking, man, I really got to get Ryan to buy into this and just stay with me on this, because I'm rolling right now with these guys. And we had great pitching that helped establish those game plans. But here's Ryan, who's never really had that moment and faced with it. Had I not had the number of scoreless innings before his start, it might have been a little different outing for him. But I'd had a couple of games to rack up some information to help him. Yeah. So it ended up working out for him.
Man, what incredible insight. The comment on the conviction that he felt like he was dialed in, like one of the points in his career when he felt like he really knew how to get these hitters out. He believed in his calling, and that is when you came up too. It's just another star in all the things that lined up that make this so beautiful and perfect, man. Do you have anything? That was incredible.
I had no idea, even to this day, I had no idea that he had that stretch in that run of dominance. And it's in true catcher fashion, the way he can recall innings, games. It's phenomenal. It's an absolute testament of the day that we had, because I think I shared the story in our first podcast. Was in the first inning, Lance Berkman comes up and he puts down the inside fastball. Lance is a switch hitter. He's batting right-handed against me being a lefty, and we're at Minute Maid Park where you got the short fence, and he puts down inside fastball, and I shake him off like no, and he puts the fastball inside down again, and I'm like no. And he calls timeout. He runs out, and he's like, "Dude, stop shaking me off. Like, just like trust me. Hit the mitt." And I'm at the point where I'm like, "Man, all right, let's go." And so he goes back inside fastball, and we pop him up to third base. Infield. I think it might have hit the at least it was super high. He just missed it. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, I throw 86. Like, what are we doing throwing inside? Look at the scoreboard. It's 114 RBIs, 41 homers. Like, no.
And I'm not ended up on the train tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's the first inning, man. Like, no. If he's gonna go oppo, that's one thing. But just I had no idea that he had that stretch, and for him to run out there with conviction of no. Like, not today, man. Like, hit the mitt and trust me. Right. And from that moment on, I just was like, I'm hitting the mitt, and we rock and roll, man.
Yeah. What if he had pulled a Crash Davis on you? Remember when Nuclear
Oh,
Moose
yeah,
was shaking him off, and he was like, curveball, when you speak of me well, and that could have been a whole different outcome, my friend. So shout out to Michael Barrett.
Shout out for sure. He definitely could have been like, he could have very easily been like, no, dude. Like, and I don't think we would have ever had that connection. That was the moment that that was absolutely the moment of like today. Dempster alluded to like, for the love of the game, just clear the mechanism. Like that was the moment where, all right, man, I'm hitting the mitt today, and Michael Barrett's going to put down the right fingers.
And I've got the perfect clips to play off of this. This is so organic here. All right, Michael Barrett, no, not right now. What did you think in your head when he shook you off? I mean, there's that funny story he told about shaking you off because he was scared to throw his fastball.
Yeah.
And you were like, what's this kid doing?
I was like, no, not right now. No. Normally I embrace young pitchers shaking me off because that's how I would get to know them and learn them quicker. But in that situation, I was like, oh, this guy, he doesn't understand, we can't allow him to do that right now,
Yeah.
And he was great about it. No pitcher likes for the catcher to like not let shake him off. And but I'm calling timeout and I'm running to the mound like frantically, like, no, not right now. We can't do that.
Do you remember this conversation that he remembers so well?
Yes, I remember probably from a different point of view, but yeah, I remember thinking, this is pretty normal for a young pitcher to get in a situation where their back's kind of up against the wall, and it's not very often. Like I said, we were pitching inside off the plate. If we got behind, we got behind. It didn't matter, And those are situations where you don't face that a lot in the minor leagues. In the big leagues, you might get in those situations where you're pitching around a guy to get to the next guy, even when the bases are empty. In the minor leagues, that's frowned upon a lot from a player development standpoint. You never want to pitch around a guy. But in that situation, Ryan did a phenomenal job of being very strategic and trusting me in terms of who we can pitch to and what counts and who we can't, and trusting his pitches. And when you get to the big leagues, you may not have a choice but to trust your off-speed pitches and fastball counts. There was multiple times where I asked Ryan to throw changeups behind the count, which probably in the minor leagues was not something he did quite often. But he was able to execute and kept us in the ball game and got his first win. Pretty cool.
That insight is just incredible. Him talking about, pitching backwards and working in weird counts and essentially, if you're behind an account, just kind of essentially unofficially walking a guy and stuff like that. Do you have any comments on this? Michael Barrett's incredible.
No, I mean, for him to be able to sit there and recall that and not his debut, it just be like,
wow.
It's impressive. I mean, it literally is spot on to my memory of what happened. And so, what a lot of times, you look at the back of my baseball card now, and you see the line. It's a short line, but you still see the line, and you see, I think, 5 walks. And throughout my career, I was a guy that threw strikes that did not walk people. That like walks were very, very rare for me. And so in my debut to see 5 walks on there, I get the comment all the time. You told me you threw strikes, like 5 walks. I'm like, that day he's spot on. Like if we would get behind, we would not give in. We would not just throw like a cookie fastball or just because we're behind in the count in a fastball count. We were like still pitching, and I ended up walking a few, and it's like, hey, so what? Like, let's bring the next guy to the plate, and we got them out. And man, it's so I almost getting goosebumps. Like I had no idea he had that stretch, and if he would not have called timeout and came out there, it could have very easily been a different day. But for him to have that conviction. And just to say not today, like that. I mean, it's a true testament of like his confidence, And then like, dude, just hit the mitt and we're rolling.
Man, the details of this are so beautiful. I'm so glad we're doing this. And I remember talking to him and being like, I cannot wait for O to hear this, for other people to hear this, because this is the inside stuff that you never get to hear, right? These little conversations, how he saw it, and like you said, his recall of this is otherworldly. That he can be like, "Oh, this pitch, this is how we did it. This is, and this guy played, what did I say, like 11 years in the big leagues. I mean, so many games, so many innings, so many pitches, and that this is so sharp for him. It's really special.
I mean, it's literally like play by play, almost 20 years ago that he's calling that. Like that's a testament to who he is, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, so cool. Let's go. We'll roll right into it. This is avoiding Berkman, which seemed to be kind of a funny thing between you guys. Here we go.
The biggest hurdle we had was Berkman. That was really the biggest hurdle. He was just a very well-polished hitter. We knew we could work around a lot of that lineup, but we knew that was the one guy that we didn't want to beat us. And so that particular series, the entire series, I felt that we pitched him really well, probably the best we had in 3 or 4 years. But it was a lot of thought going into that game was how do we stop him, especially down the stretch. He was a streaky hitter and a very good switch hitter. We liked our chances getting him out more from the left side than the right side, though we were having success doing that. For Ryan still to come up in his first start to buy into the game plan and understand that was the guy that wasn't going to beat us, and still pitch, because those other guys could beat you too, but that's the one guy that could do it with one swing of the bat, and put it over the fence any part of the yard, right-handed or left-handed, and as long as he's in the lineup, just like a lot of great players, you're like, when's he coming up? He's got to be coming up soon,
I think you've already alluded to this, or maybe just a private conversation in my head, but like that must have been a moment to look up at the scoreboard and see his stats, right? That you're pitching to this guy like 140 something RBIs at that time. Like he was a machine that season.
Oh, he was an absolute dude, right? Absolute dude. And again, to be at Minute Maid Park, short porch, he's batting right-handed, because I'm a lefty, and I'm just like, no way. And he alluded to like the game plan, the scouting report. Like I was in a limo probably when that was going on, or
like none of this. You got nothing.
I had no game plan. It was like him. Go execute a pitch, right? You're getting going out there, and again, it's a true testament to Michael Barrett, man. To know the game plan, right? To know what, and not necessarily know me and my strengths or weaknesses, but just like, hey, execute this pitch, and I like our chances. Yeah, man. I mean, I remember it because like it Minute Maid the B's, the Berkman, Bagwell, Burke. Like, it was like bzz, they would like bzz, like you could hear that on the mound. You're like, dude, man, like this is nuts. This is nuts. And so it was definitely like a moment of like, man, dude, this could get dicey fast.
That must have been so funny in your head when he was putting down fastball and you're like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not throwing this 86. And in his head, he's like, this kid, why is he not listening to me? And then this beautiful conversation between you guys, and the rest is, baseball history. It's so special. Let's go. This is a really cool clip, and I wanted to even say something about it before I played it, but probably in parts 1 and part 2, I feel like I owe you an apology on some level. I feel like I kind of have shaped this as like this crazy improbable thing that you made it to the big leagues, but you earned it. And this next clip is called It Wasn't As Much of a Stretch, and he helped me kind of understand that you were a hell of an athlete. You fought your way through the minor leagues with no one doing you favors. You did everything the Cubs ever asked of you. Like I said it all, long relief, spot start, lefty specialist, eating up innings, whatever. And it wasn't luck that you got there. You were about 3.99, 4 in AAA, which tells me that you can get called up and execute and do your thing. So I'm sorry if I, framed it like you were like the last kid in a race that everyone's cheering for. That's not Ryan O'Malley at all. You were an incredible athlete. You earned your spot in the big league. So here we go. Michael Barrett, It Wasn't As Much of a Stretch.
Yeah, I don't know all of those things. I know that it wasn't as much of a stretch of the imagination as he thinks. A lot of players in the minor leagues, if you're in Double A, Triple A, you're knocking on the door until that moment calls. It feels like forever from now. And then when it comes, it's like I had a Triple A manager tell me, Jeff Cox was his name. He said, Michael, that light at the tunnel is an oncoming train sometimes. And what he meant by that is when you get that call back up. When you're in AAA, you get that call or you finally get that opportunity. It gets there before you know it. And usually it's when you last expect it. But, Ryan was pitching well enough to be called up in that situation.
Yep. So that's kind of him. I just echo what he kind of said there. Do you got anything there?
Yeah, I mean, you never feel like the big leagues is your ultimate dream. But you're like, man, you put the big leagues, you put the major leagues on such a pedestal of wow. I mean, again, it's like Andy Pettit, Berkman, Zambrano, Kerry Wood. Like you go down the list of all these names that you watch as a kid growing up, and you put them on a pedestal. And so it does feel like a little further out of reach. But I think, when you reflect back on like your whole career, and like, how do you even get to this point? And how do you even get to this point? And what gets you to this point when it comes to your work ethic? And when you think about just when you get an opportunity, making the best of it, preparing yourself for any opportunity that you get, even if it's not the opportunity that you think you should have, it's just going out there and performing. And a lot of time we have an outlook on life of what we want our life to look at, but like it's not our plan, it's God's plan, man. And like it's a true testament of sports where out of high school, like I wanted to go Division I, like every kid wants to, and sure. I don't even think I had hardly any recruits, and to go to Lincoln Land and for Lincoln Land to be the program that it is and that it was in our backyard and the team that we had prepared me for that next moment. Then I would have loved to go to University of Illinois, right? They didn't recruit any of us out of Lincoln Land. Again, it was kind of like, dang, but again, it wasn't my plan, man. It wasn't my plan. And I got to go to Memphis and go down there, and I just showed up, and you do your best. And then you're going to get drafted. Didn't get drafted, right? I thought it was over. And then you get a phone call of like a roster filler, like as complete roster filler, senior sign, like go, and you just show up, man. You show up and you do your best. And again, not my plan, but like God had a plan. And to go through all the minor leagues, and Alan Dunn said, he's never a dude, man. He was on the list of release every year, but the guy was a good person, a good clubhouse guy. He showed up, he threw strikes, and I made the next. And so you just keep showing up, and I just love hearing those stories of like it was a true, like the stars lined up for that day. And it was, you reflect back on all those things that got you to that. And again, the baseball gods and our big guy just had the ultimate plan. So it's cool to hear Michael Barrett say that it's not as far out as he thought it was. I certainly felt like it was pretty far out there, but, but you just keep showing up, man, and that's life. Like, there's things going to be thrown at you, and not the plan that you have, but you just keep showing up. So
that's beautiful. Just keep showing up. I love that. It sounds like you made the best out of every opportunity you ever got, even if it wasn't the opportunity that you were looking for. And then also, I'm so glad you brought up Alan Dunn. He was just incredible in parts 1 and part 2. The Southern draw, the wise wisdom. I mean, everything he said was just like a clip worthy. It was so beautiful. And that he talked about, you talked about every year being on the spring training chopping block, and your name was probably on that list. And he talked about going to bat for you multiple times to keep you on rosters. And just think about, if maybe what becomes of Ryan O'Malley if there's no Alan Dunn. It's just, there's so many people that are involved in a player's career throughout it. So I'm just really glad that we've gotten a chance to talk about Alan Dunn and give that guy gratitude. And it's just what a special guy.
Oh man, the best in my opinion.
Love that guy. Let's go to the next one. Michael Barrett, composure.
Yeah, he seemed great. His composure was awesome for a young man. So like that excitement right there in and of itself, and then Greg Maddux is in the dugout. Guys that played for the Cubs when you were a kid, or played for the Braves when I was a kid watching games. It's like it hits you. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like too much. And like I said, I mean, given all of if the stars were aligned in anything, it was the game calling scenario that we just happened to be in at that moment, where it was a couple of games under our belts. We had 27 innings to go off of what their hitters were doing, where they were at, and hitters adjust fast, especially good ones like their guys. And and then Rich Hill, another young pitcher at that time, closed out the game before, and so it was like you already had kind of a game plan of left-handed pitcher kind of going into the next day, what their guys were doing against lefties, because they had Berkman as a switch hitter who was a different hitter, right-handed versus left-handed. You had to pitch him differently. And I do remember it being a one-run game pretty much the entire game, and it was like every guy that came up to bat seemed like they could put the ball out of the park at any moment. So it was like we had to pitch carefully, very carefully, and meticulously. And Ryan, for the first time, was probably asked to throw balls instead of strikes. Like where we could not give them anything to hit in certain situations. With the game being so close, and he did a phenomenal job of trusting that.
Can you speak to the balls thing? Was that ever something that you were asked to do in the minor leagues, like specifically, placing it in places where a hitter cannot hit it? You cannot get damaged in any way. Were you a little more aggressive in the minors?
Well, I mean, in the minor leagues, I mean, there's like, let's say 3 to 4 dudes, right, that you don't want to have beat you, right? But then you take that to the big league. There's 9 dudes, right? There's 9 dudes that can beat you, like what Michael was saying, like any point. And so, like you know, in the minor leagues, you don't want the bottom of the lineup to walk any of those guys, right? So then the top 4 guys can put a crooked number up on the scoreboard rather than just a single digit. So. You're a little bit more careful because there's more dudes that can really hurt you. But again, man, I was never a guy that walked, and so I would always be like, man, I'm going to challenge this. I'm going to challenge it right here. I would rather you square one up than me give you a free base. I was never a big free base guy, and so and not to mention, the zone's probably a little tighter, right? The big league zone's a little tighter, so I think there's probably a couple factors that go into it. But more than anything, like Michael would sit out where instead of being behind the dish, he's on the corner, and if I miss a little bit, like. That's okay. We're going to miss. Yeah. We're safe. We're going to live to see another day. And a hat off to Barrett. Like he's the one that gave me the 1-0 lead. He hit the homer. Yeah. So he's my guy in a lot of ways. Like not only behind the plate, he gave me the run that I needed to put the W in the win column for me. So big shout out to Michael B.
This guy's the best. What kind of were you guys talking in between innings? Were you sitting next to each other? Or what was your kind of headset?
Not a ton, because he didn't necessarily know like my strengths or weaknesses. It was more just stay locked in, dude. Just keep doing what you're doing, and that was really it. I mean, it was as the game went on, we had a little bit more to work on. Of like, hey. We threw these pitches. They're going to be up this inning. Let's do this or that. But it was more of like, let's just keep rolling.
That's awesome. I got a great clip here. This is building rapport. Here we go.
Yeah, I remember. See, this is where it's a point of view deal. Like I always try to kind of bring things full circle. You try to find out what some of his hobbies were, try to build that relationship. Pitching and catching and calling a game is like a lot of things in life. It's relationship driven. And, I just remember, catching up with him, find out where he's from, what are some of his hobbies, found out that he likes to go deer hunting. So it was like, hey man, after this season, I'm going to come see you and we'll go deer hunting together. He probably didn't believe me, but I did. I ended up going to his house,
Really?
Yeah, that was crazy. We ended up hanging out with Matt Hughes of all people.
The fighter?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but when Ryan got called up, I was like instantly trying to find some common ground, something that we could talk about to get his mind a little bit off of baseball. And
sure,
and that's how that all came up, which ended up leading to us hanging out with Matt Hughes on Matt Hughes' farm.
Dude, I got to ask him about that story.
One of
the
best
cool.
Ultimate Fighters ever. Yeah.
Okay, we got to get to that story. But first of all, it's incredible that he, in his head, was like, okay, I need to establish a connection with this guy, so we can get on the same page. That's incredible. I got to hear this Matt Hughes hunting story. Let's go.
Yeah, shoot, man. Like, relationships are a lot about life, and I just truly believe life is full of relationships, and so as many as you can make, the better off you are, right? And so he did. He was great, man. We spent some time together, where it's throwing bullpens or just catching up, and that year there was a Matthews, the company Matthews bows. They like you think of, like, you get to the big leagues and it's like this handout of like the Oprah show where she's giving out free things to everybody.
You get a car.
Yeah. It's totally like I'm like, all right, here we are in the big leagues, and this dealership or this Matthew dealer is like handing out bows, switchback bows. I'm like, all right, I'm in. And so that I think that's really what started the conversation of, we had these bows, and Barrett's like, dude, I want to go hunting. I'm like, let's go. And then, like you said, I didn't think it was going to happen. But like, the guy's a man of his word. And next thing you know, Michael B. and I forget his buddy. I think his name was Turtle. His nickname was Turtle off the Entourage. Remember that show, the Entourage? There was a there. His name was Turtle. His nickname was Turtle. And Michael, his buddy, came and they called him Turtle. So that was my memory. Okay. And you can't make this up, right? You can't make this up. So we're sitting there. My dad grew up in Nokomis, and we had some hunting ground in Nokomis, and so we're like, let's do this, and that's where we were hanging out, and they loved the UFC, and UFC fights. I think there might have been one on, or we were just talking about it, and I'm like, well, dude, Matt Hughes lives right here, literally, less than an hour away, and I know him. Yeah. Like, I got his number. Let's call him, see if he's home. So I call him. He answers. Next thing you know, we're in his big pickup truck, like cruising around in these cornfields in Hillsboro, Illinois, with Michael Barrett, Matt Hughes. Like, again, you can't. And Turtle. I'm like,
of course, Turtle.
You can't make this up. We didn't shoot any deer, but we had a hell of a time with Matt Hughes and trying to chase down some whitetails there in Nokomis. So that's a true story, and that's a good one down memory lane right there.
Hughes, I remember seeing him at a local MMA event one time, and it was like right at the start of his heyday, and just like even being around him, you could like feel some sort of an energy. Like, this guy could kick everyone's ass in the room. There's something to that, like that kind of a guy. That's really cool. You got to hang. Cool guy. When you hung out.
Oh, yeah, awesome. But I mean, this, like, I could tie this whole, like, me knowing Matt Hughes ties back to a baseball relationship. Tyler Shelton played at Lincoln Land from
shortstop.
Shortstop, ended up playing third base. But you talk about a dude, the guy, I think he might have one of the highest, if not the highest average still to this day at Lincoln Land. Ty Shelton could hit. But he's from Hillsboro, and so Tyler and I, so we played at Lincoln Land together, and he was probably the reason I went to the University of Memphis. Is he went to Memphis. Jeff Curtis went to Memphis. Jeff Curtis's, I think his nephew went to Memphis, just got signed with the White Sox. But again, like,
there's another one too.
talking about. That's how I know Michael Barrett was like. We used to hang with the Hillsborough boys at Lincoln Land because of Tyler Shelton, and got to know Matt Hughes and that group. So
That's crazy.
Relationships.
Man, you're right. Yep. Relationships. This next one is called "Piece of My Soul," and this is just a beautiful clip. I'm just gonna play it. Here we go. Did it at all feel like this was a special moment? This guy that's getting called up and beating Andy Pettit and having, just having a great game, a great first big league start, or did it just feel like another game to you?
No, I mean, I always was telling my wife this, even with my 9-year-old son the other day, that any baseball game that I'm involved with, it feels like it takes a piece of my soul, and it just like takes a piece of my life. It's like, I don't know, it's like a passion, just something that every game means something. Every opportunity, whether it's Ryan O'Malley's start to helping young kids on the baseball field now at 9U, it all feels the same. I remember Ryan O'Malley's start. I remember so many things about that. They do blend together at my age, being 48 now and having had so many more games post 2006, even if it's Little League. But every opportunity I ever had as a catcher to make an impact, helping a young pitcher out, meant the world to me. It meant the absolute world.
Got anything? That's so special. I love that clip.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, you have to have that. You have to have that desire to love the game, to be where he ultimately was. Right, 11 years in the big leagues. Sure. The guy loves it, and you have to. I think that's the hardest thing today. With now my kids and just being around a lot of young guys are like, hey, please tell me, like, how do I get to where you got to? And I truly believe, man, it's like it's in your soul. Like, you have to want it. You have to want it more than so many others, because so many want to be on there, but what you have to go through mentally, physically, stars have to line up. You have to come overcome adversity. Like, I think that's the hardest thing. It's like there's no easy way to get there, and you have to have a pitching coach. He called it fire in your belly. You got to have that, like that burning soul to get to where you got to get to in the big leagues, for sure.
Man, that was great. All right, this next one is pitching backwards.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is for Ryan that particular day. He was asked to pitch and throw pitches in different counts. He was asked to think outside the box on several occasions, and he trusted the game plan. He trusted the pitch calling selection, and because he did, he was able to have success. Sometimes, there's this for our listeners. The best thing I could tell you is there's a couple of different philosophies. One is location, location, location. It doesn't matter what the pitch is; it's where you throw it. And then there's the newer analytics side of things, is that some hitters in certain counts just don't do well on certain pitches, off-speed pitches and 3-1 counts, 3-2 counts that hitters are less likely to see those pitches. In Ryan's case, as they say, he threw the kitchen sink at him and did well. But he did well in maintaining his composure and understanding that there's a trusting your stuff. Trusting, you hear that a lot in baseball, trust your stuff. And that day, when he was out there pitching, he absolutely did that. And that's why he was able to mow down 8 innings of work and of scoreless work. And the problem is that in life and in baseball is that we always have those situations where we have doubt, we have negative thoughts that creep in. It's just a part of what we do in our culture. But, he had success by staying positive and staying and believing in his ability to execute those pitches whenever the count called for it, and that's what allowed him to have that success.
Oh, man, this guy is spitting some fire, and I think now we're in such an age of analytics and scouting reports and these detailed things that catchers and pitchers get to go over before games, but the whole plan was just Michael Barrett's head, right? His deep knowledge of the game and these hitters and his understanding of what works and how to use your stuff to get guys out is just I'm so glad that he's a part of this and we're getting to hear these intricate thoughts from him. Do you got anything you want to add on top of that?
Man, I could go. To this day, I think if I was coming up in today's game, I don't know if I get the opportunity because of the velocity, because of the spin rate, because all the
metrics. Yeah.
But what I had to do, because I did not have a big velocity, but what you have to do is you got to believe in yourself, one, and then you got to believe in the pitch. You got to, like, we call it pitching with conviction. If you believe in the pitch, like my changeup was probably my best pitch, but it's the least sexy of all the pitches because it's slow, right? But the ability to change pitches, change speeds, and if you don't throw a changeup with conviction and selling it like it's a fastball, there's no chance that the changeup plays like it should. And like what Michael, like I had to be that guy most of my career because I wasn't a big velocity, but I had to throw the kitchen sink. I had to, think of pitching backwards a lot of my career because of the lack of velocity. It's more of the change in speeds and locating and pitching with conviction. Alan Dunn was if I took one thing away, it's that right there. It's pitching with conviction. Like he was a huge advocate of, if you believed in the pitch, just like if you believed in yourself, there's more pitches that are going to do what it's supposed to do, have success, if you pitch with conviction.
Oh man,
yeah.
Take me through in part one or part two. You talked about learning the cutter and that kind of being a great thing for your career. Can you take me through your repertoire of what you were kind of using that day, pitch wise?
Yeah, so that season, just to take it back a little bit, like I never really had a good breaking ball. Right. Rich Hill, as many times as we played catch, you would think that I could take away a Rich Hill curveball. Like, that dude has an ultimate curveball. We call it the hammer, the ham bone, man. Like he's got one of the better, like a Barry Zito 12-6 dream come true. Like, in my opinion, nothing better. I never, for whatever reason, could throw a good breaking ball. I really struggled with the breaking ball. So Rick Kranitz, I was in AAA the year before I get called up, so 2005. Rick Kranitz is the AAA pitching coach, and was like, "Dude, I think you can locate the fastball in and out, up and down. You got your changeup that fades away, but you got to have something that goes into right-handed hitters to keep them off the changeup." So Cranny is like, "Dude, I think a cutter's your pitch." And man, you talk about, like, I struggled for years to throw a curveball. Like, the cutter just it worked for me. It naturally it happened. And so that year in 2006, I started throwing the fastball in and out, the cutter to the glove side of the plate, and then the changeup arm side. And that was my repertoire that whole season. That got me to the point to be where in the position to have the success that I was having that year, because I could keep people off the outside of the plate. And it was a true testament to that cutter. And that was the only, because I didn't have 96 on the hands. Right. I had 88, man. People weren't afraid of that, but they were afraid of that little cutter blowing them up on their hands. And that was what took me to the success I was having. And probably ultimately to my a sore elbow at the end of 2006, like when I hurt my elbow. But nonetheless, man, it got me the success that I was having to be in that point. But it was definitely, and I love it. I still, again, relationships. My daughters go to school with his granddaughters here in Arizona. Rick Craney, I still see him at basketball games, soccer games. Like, again, he's still doing it too. He's in the big leagues with the Braves. Like, he's a guy, man. And so,
have you ever told him how that changed your career? That cutter?
Yeah,
How it was?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So you
yeah.
weren't even throwing like a get me over curve or a slider or anything like that. It was just those three pitches.
Oh, but that was all like, yeah, I would, but I would throw that like an 0-0 counts, like a big
Right.
slow looping, but I wasn't getting anybody out with that thing. Like it was just like something different that to change eye levels, to change
for sure.
speed. I was not getting anybody out with that. But the cutter, man, that definitely took my career from
Yeah.
double A to like being a guy in triple A and getting a shot in the big leagues.
Were you throwing
For
4
sure.
and 2 seams, fastballs? Were you relying
Yeah,
more on
I
one or the
mean,
other?
again, man, I threw the kitchen sink up there. I tried to, especially like the first time through the lineup, right? You can, everything's new, right? But then the second and the third time through the lineup, when they've already seen 88, they're not afraid of anything. They're not afraid of anything. So I literally had to pitch backwards, throw the cutter inside, change up outside, throw the big looping curveball for strike one instead of the four seam outside. Like I had to do all that throughout my career, and the more so the later in the career to like when there's, in college there's two dudes, the 3-4 hitters, maybe and then you get to pro ball, there's some dudes, like there's some guys. So you just have to continue to elevate your game and get creative for sure.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Let's go. Michael Barrett, get to be a part of it. And thanks for all that insight, man. I'm loving all this like high level baseball talk, the little intricacies of it, man. I live for this. All right, get to be a part of it. It was still a really special moment, and he's he's the best person. So I feel good about the world when good things happen to good people like Ryan,
Absolutely. In most cases, I would say 90% or more, you have those type of stories where, a dream comes true, and you get to be a part of it as a catcher. Pitcher's first outing. There's not too many that I don't remember. I could recall a lot of those opportunities. Caught a lot of young pitchers over the years, and having that opportunity was always something I didn't take lightly because it was do or die. It was always do or die for me, for those guys, and always took a great deal of pride. And if I ever made a mistake, putting the wrong fingers down, I probably was my own worst critic for years.
Man, we've got one more, but that was just more high level talk from him, and you can tell how much he lived for it. It was in his heart, in his soul, like he said. A piece of his soul was in every game. You got anything to add on to that?
Man, it's just a testament. The guy cares, man. He cares.
Yeah, deeply.
He loves. He loves baseball, and just the bottom line, he cares. Even like we were out of it. Like I think he alluded to it, or Dempster alluded to it. Like we were out of it, and he was still taking high pride of putting down the right finger. Like
absolutely, yeah.
He's still like there. He was an ultimate competitor, right? I mean, it came out in his career too when he's, hitting, AJ Przinsky, and I'm surprised you didn't talk to him about that. But the guy cares, man. The guy, I mean, he loves baseball.
Yeah, I agree. And I was a little careful with the whole AJ Przinsky thing because it's a unique thing. Because Michael, Barrett is this great guy, right? And it's kind of out of his character or out of the norm of who I think he might be to, just haul off and kind of just give it to someone, even though that happens in the game sometimes. And I'm sure he's had to talk about it a million times. So I wasn't sure where he was kind of at with that. But at the very end, I did ask him about it a little bit, and I got a nice clip. And then also he's actually agreed to come on. So he's got some stuff to tell about his career. So we're going to have him on at some point. So thank you again for, facilitating that as well. So we're going to have the Michael Barrett story at some point.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. I mean, the guy's he's a baseball dude. When you talk about just he's a baseball dude, man. He loves it.
For sure. That's a great way to describe him. The last one's going to be funny. It's going to be called Bo back. Here we go.
That would be funny. Tell him I want my Matthews bow back.
You still got your bow, man?
I gave it to him. I told him I was going to give him a Matthews bow. He didn't believe me.
I'm not a bow hunter, but what I think I know, I mean, these are the bows. These are thousands of dollars worth of bows, right? These are expensive bows. Nice, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, and he did. And one of your old, he was on my dad. My dad uses that bow, Michael Barrett's bow. So, and he killed a monster buck with it too. So Michael B would be proud. The old man, dude,
It's beautiful.
He loves the hunt too. And we have that great, time together. And, so yeah, Michael B gave me a bow and, I gave it to Dad, and we've had some great memories with it. So
That's beautiful. That concludes our Michael Barrett clips here. And now a few words from our sponsors.
This episode is being brought to you by Eric Easley of the Easley Real Estate Team with the Real Estate Group. This team consists of Eric, Jamie Murphy, and Caitlin Fry. They can be reached at 217-971-3256 or at theeasleysalesteam.com. Eric was a standout quarterback and shortstop at Southeast back in the mid-90s and later starred at Western Illinois in baseball. Also one of the best umpires around this area for many years, teaming up with Bobby Erickson. He sold houses for all kinds of baseball dudes in the area. The Knadler brothers, Justin and Jason, Ryan Murphy, Todd Schneller, the Savota family. And when it was time for Corey to sell his house and buy his new house, there's only one place he went. That's Eric Easley and the Easley Real Estate Team. So go see these guys for all your real estate needs. We really appreciate you. We are also brought to you by Hammers Radon Mitigation Solutions. You can reach them at 217-670-4292, hammersradon@gmail.com, or head on over to their website, hammersradonmitigation.com. They do exactly what you need. This is everything radon that you can think of. This is Les Hammers. This is a Springfield firefighter, a former standout football player at Jacksonville, Truman State, and then played a little pro ball, a little arena ball himself. Since opening, Hammers Radon Mitigation Solutions have become masters of their craft. Their commitment to quality mitigation, exceptional services, and incomparable customer care keep our homeowners safe. They never stop improving and will continue to expand their offerings. Get in touch with Les today. You will not be disappointed. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks, Les. We are also brought to you by Sitco Chiropractic. They can be reached at 217-525-2035 and sitcochiropractic.com. They offer chiropractic care, corrective exercises, lifestyle advice, nutritional counseling, spinal and postural screenings. They are located at 205 North Grand Avenue. Love the Sitco family. From the dad, Steven, to Kyle and Casey, I grew up with them. Their brother Tyler was a big-time baseball player at SHG and SCI. There's a reason they have over 70 ratings on Google, and they're all 5.0. These guys are great. I went to them a few years back for some back issues I was having. They'll fix you right up. Go see Sitco Chiropractic. We are also brought to you by BSN Sports, specifically Adam Anderson, who grew up playing ball with Blaine Cravens and Walt Padden, former guests here, and played football at Illinois College. BSN Sports, the nation's leading supplier of sporting goods, uniforms, and apparel. They provide game-changing solutions to their customers and work to make life easier for coaches. They have over 13 sales pros in the central Illinois area. Reach out to Adam Anderson at adam.anderson@bsnsports.com. They'll take care of you. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks, BSN.
We are also brought to you by Nate Guernsey with the Real Estate Group. Get a hold of him for all your real estate needs. You can reach him at 217-691-6853. We've mentioned his name multiple times on the podcast. He was a member of the famous Springfield Statesmen. This guy was an absolute sharpshooter with swag for Southeast back in the day. I can remember watching him play the city and really liking his flavor and the way he did things. So go see Nate Guernsey with the Real Estate Group. Again, 217-691-6853. Love this guy. We appreciate you, Nate.
We are also brought to you by Washco Strength and Speed, located at 3604 North Peoria Road, 217-899-3233. Of course, I'm talking about Jared Washco, the Springfield area firefighter, the former pitching standout at SHG and SCI. He is credentialed. He is a CPT, CSCS. Those are the highest credentials you can get in the strength and conditioning game. I think he is absolutely fantastic working with young athletes, probably the best in the area, working with baseball players. His results say it all. He's worked with high school guys, college guys, pro guys, and they keep coming back to him. They get bigger, they get faster, they get stronger, more explosive, better at their sport, less injury prone. He handles it all. He does arm care work. He does speed work. Go see Jared if you are a local athlete trying to get the most out of yourself. Invest in yourself. Go see Jared. We are also brought to you by the Kaiser family. We really appreciate you guys. This is a true baseball family. The wife coaches for the Arsenal. Ryan is my boy. He's got a whole garage set up like Wrigley Field with the whole viewing experience for baseball. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you, Kaiser family.
We've got the hub of the O'Malley family up next. Are you ready to get into some Rachel O'Malley?
Yeah.
Beautiful. And she has just the best things to say about you. Obviously, it's consistent with who all these people think you are. So it was really cool to hear her thoughts on it. So with no further ado, I'm going to jump into how we met. You ready for it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I moved out here and we ended up meeting at a Zach Brown concert. So I didn't think it was, I didn't think it would last. I thought I was going to meet some cocky athlete and it would just be a fun night. But no, it was definitely different. As you know, Ryan's a different human. Definitely well raised by Maggie and Larry.
Beautiful. I'm going to move on here to, let's just say, there's some funny ones too. Let's go always present.
Yeah, I mean, he's both an incredible husband and father, definitely devoted to our family. And I fell in love with him, even more after we became parents. He's been the patient one. He's fun-loving. He's always present. He's always there for me and what I need. And he definitely makes sure that he's doing what he can do to make our family thrive. So it's been fun continuing to be the team that we are. We are definitely a team. It takes the both of us to make this crazy circus of girls function. And
sure,
he works really hard for us to make sure that we have what we need. And he makes it a point. I think the biggest thing I love about him is how he leads our family, especially in our faith, and makes it a point that we're not missing church. If we have stop on a Sunday, like we've got to figure out a way to make it up. So whether it's watching it online or going another day, he knows, and I know, we both know how important it is to have that strong foundation in faith. And as they continue to grow and navigate life's challenges. So I love that about him as a husband and father. And with the kids, he is always present. He loves to roughhouse with them. And he's a really good coach, obviously, in other people's lives. But really with the girls, he's been really involved in all of their sports. And I think he's the type of dad that will be up with them for hours at night, listening to their worries and offering wisdom and guidance when they need it. He's a really good girl dad.
So touching. I'm so glad that she's a part of this. She was so sharp too, and just her takes and how she sees you and your family. Something that I think I know about you is your faith has grown as you've gotten older and you've gotten stronger in that. Can you speak to how kind of important that is to you guys' family and yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, my mom and dad instilled that in us at a young age, but at the same time, like, you're still like a kid and you feel like you can do it all on your own and figure it out. But I think baseball probably allowed me to get deeper in my faith with the ups and the downs and the struggles of trying to be what you want to be, but not really having putting too much on baseball to fulfill those to fulfill who you want to be as a person. And I knew when I went to Memphis that there was something different. Go down to Memphis and be the Bible Belt, and I truly changed my path for my faith when I went to Memphis and got introduced to. I grew up a Catholic, right? And it was a lot of tradition, and I always knew that I wasn't alone, but I didn't necessarily know, how to have that relationship. And over the years, I think baseball was a huge testament to grow in my faith, to lean on something other than a performance, other than a game, other than trying to keep my identity in baseball. I was like, I'm a person, and there's bigger there's a bigger thing than just baseball to hang your successes on, and that was a big thing that you're always striving to be better in your faith. You're always trying to be stronger, and I've tried to do that, and I just know that I can't do it alone. And when you try to do it alone, it's not a good recipe. And so I've tried to bring that to my family, and Rachel and I both were raised Catholic, and so we were introduced to it. It's just about having our relationship, and now we're doing that with our family and our girls. So yeah.
Beautifully put. You are very sharp today, man. You're just killing it. I loved how you took us through that. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm sensing a little bit of some emotion in the air. You better buckle up, because we've got a lot of touching things from your wife here. So,
yeah, and I mean, this is yeah. I think that she's cooking some onions over here, man. I don't know. Something's in the air for sure.
You know what? There were some onions being cooked during part 1 of the Ryan O'Malley. If I remember, there's lots of onions being cooked, man.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Let's move on to the next one. That was beautiful. Is she right there, like behind the computer right now, talking to us?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
All right, cool. All right, let's go. Ryan O'Malley, perfect girl dad.
So we met here in Phoenix, and we've made it home. We love it here. It's warm and sunny, and the weather's good for our bones. It is hot right now, but we love it. We take the girls out on the lake during the summer to try to beat the heat. We have 3 beautiful daughters. Rena's 11, Remy's about to turn 9, and Roxy's 6.5. It's funny, people always say, go for that boy, you got to have that boy. We both thought we would have a boy and a girl, but, God has a funny way of doing things, and we are definitely made to be girl parents. I said we would probably have twin girls next. But yeah, he's like the perfect girl dad. I do think he would need some prayers in a few years when all the hormones are flying around between the 4 of us. But yeah, we feel very blessed to have these 3 beautiful, healthy girls, and selfishly happy that they all love sports just as much as we do.
Tell me about being a girl dad, my man. I've got 2, but one, a boy and a girl, but my first was a girl, and I still consider myself a girl dad. It softened me in so many ways, my heart. Can you speak about being a girl dad a little bit? You got anything?
Yeah, man. I like Rachel said, that there was no question that, again, my thoughts of what my life was going to look like, that there was a son involved in that. And again, it's a true testament to having to have your faith of like, hey, man, this is not the plan that I had, like what's going on here. And and God has he has his ways of, it's not our plan, right? We have a ton of blessings that sometimes that we're not focusing on. And I tell you, being a girl dad is so fun. Dude, life's challenging, and raising kids are challenges. And so I just, having kids for one is a true blessing. Having healthy kids is a true blessing, and getting to raise them is probably it's the funnest thing. It's the one of the prouder moments that I've had. It's got its hard times, like all the emotions wrapped up into raising kids. But I absolutely love being a dad. Like, I love being a dad. I love being a girl dad. Like, you have the dreams of playing catch with your son or playing catch with a football. Whatever that is. But I tell you, man, Raina, my oldest, has like fulfilled all of those. Like, it almost feels kind of like even a better feather in your hat whenever you got like a stud girl that can play catch.
Talk about it.
Dude, she's like, she's really talented, and it's a ton of fun to teach her. She loves it. She wants more and more. And all the girls do. I say Raina because she's the older one, but even Remy and Roxy, they like Rachel said, they all love it, and it's been fun being a part of their like sport journey. and Rachel might tell the story, but whenever we were starting into softball, I knew having girls and playing softball that it's a different game than baseball, and so being
are we going to the lefty thing? The lefty thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
So being a left-handed hitter, what's that? You want to play it?
I got a clip for it.
Well, I mean, it's just a great testament to like, hey, like I want the best for these kids. Rachel's like, what are you doing? I'll let you play it, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, perfect. Here we go. Rachel O'Malley, lefty.
Yeah, I think some funny stories about him with the girls softball. So when we were first starting out, our oldest is now 11, like I said. She was playing t-ball, and he started training her 4 years old to bat left-handed. I mean, it's a benefit in softball, so
Sure.
I didn't really know that. I played softball up until high school, but nothing really more than recreational leagues. I didn't know, the ins and outs of it. But I remember vividly, Raina was 4, Ryan was out of town for work. I had Remy, who was 2 at the time, and Roxy, a baby, overwhelmed as a mama of 3, single mom in a t-ball.
Yeah.
I took a video of Raina hitting the ball off the tee and sent it to him, and immediately got a text back, "Why is she batting right-handed?" I was like, dude, I'm not going to run up to the coach in the middle of a 4-year-old t-ball game with 2 kids on my hips just to say she needs to bat on the other side. It's not that serious, but he definitely they all bat left-handed now. And
Really?
They're all left-handed. It's so funny. People will be like, oh, they're lefties. And I'm like, nope, just bat left. So he's definitely getting them set up for success.
The perfect story. Let's keep rolling on it, man. So you made all of your daughters lefty on purpose. Hitting.
Yeah. It's a benefit. You can do the slap. It's a fast game. I love, getting to know the game. It's been challenging at times, but I'll get into that in a minute. But the left-handed thing, I'm like, yeah, man. They don't know any better. It's just like how your parents teach them. Because for me, example, I throw left-handed and I bat right-handed. It's like
the opposite.
But my dad does the exact same thing. He throws left-handed and bats right-handed. And so it just got to me thinking, I'm like, my dad didn't know any better. Like, he's just like, that's what I do. Like, that's probably how I can help him best is teach him like I do it. And so, like, just do it. And so I'm just like, man, I'm going to teach these kids how to bat left-handed. And I would get mad, like, because most coaches would be like, oh, here you go, Susie, like you bat right-handed, like everyone bats right-handed in their mind. And I would be like, hey, no, she's a lefty. She's a lefty. She's a lefty. And Rachel would never do that. And I would get like, if I wasn't there, I'm like, and so anyway, that we have a funny story just that we laugh about it. But what I was getting in the challenging part is the girls want to pitch, and as being a pitcher. As being a major league pitcher, I have to get pitching lessons for my daughter. It's like the most humbling thing. It's like, I don't know how to teach her how to pitch. I can teach her how to hit, play the field, all the things, but I'm literally having to pay for pitching lessons, which I love, by the way, because I loved giving pitching lessons. It was a big part of my off season, which I don't mind, but it's just funny. It's just that I need help to teach my daughter how to pitch, and it's great. She loves it. And we have a great time doing it.
This is so organic. Oh, I've got a perfect clip for this. Are you ready? It's called "More Nervous," and it ties right in. This is so beautiful, man.
Yeah, so Ryan and I both love sports. He's very involved in their sports. Early on, he didn't really do much as far as coaching them. He definitely wanted to make sure they were more interested in the game than the snacks. Now they're all at the age where they're very bought in and competitive, and it's funny that the third one, feels like she's so far above where our first one was at 6 years old. But it's just she's seeing her sisters do things, catching on earlier and earlier. But he's involved in all sports: volleyball, basketball, softball. Of course, their favorite is softball. So he's currently the director of softball for the recreational league we have out here.
Cool.
And then he also coaches their softball teams. He's mastered the underhand flip that lands perfectly on the kids' bats every time he pitches to them. And
cool.
he says he's actually was more nervous pitching in their games early on than the big league. So I don't know. There's a lot of pressure when you only have one pitch sometimes for the coach relief.
That's so perfect, man. So you were nervous trying to get the underhand right to your girls more so than pitching to Michael Barrett. That's crazy.
Oh man, I mean, so out here we do coach pitch at the early levels. It's coach pitch, and I remember trying to pitch to them, and I was hitting them, and they're like crying and like, I don't want to play anymore because I'm hitting them. I'm like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Like I'm a,
Big leaguer.
I'm like, oh my god. So I mastered the underhand flip, and it's an art, man. Because some of these coaches that coach in the league, they're like striking their players out, and it's super hard. It's hard. And they swing at everything. They don't know to swing at take pitches, so they swing at everything. And so the little one, we won the championship, and it's a testament to like you got to hit their bat, man. And so it's a lot of fun. We have a blast with it. They're into it. Yeah. Rachel's into it. So we have a ton of fun with it for sure.
I love that. I make some notes sometimes when guests are talking, if there's things I want to circle back to, and there's a couple things I wanted to circle back to. One being your swing, which, maybe not everyone knows if they didn't listen to part 1 and part 2, but I mean, you were an absolute slugger, and I always loved your swing, man. Like I remember even when you were pitching and it'd be like, us and the Canadlers doing our thing training, like every once in a while you'd step in and take some daddy hacks. And I was like, man, I remember there was kind of a leg kick a little bit and just you had some lift to it. And it was just a really beautiful swing. And then secondly, I could not agree with you more on how proud I feel of my little girl. She can mash. My little girl, Althea, she's just turned 6. She is one of the better T-ball players. I don't want to get crazy, it's T-ball, but I mean, she's hitting bombs over these kids, hitting it way better than the boys. And the sense of pride I feel when my little girl goes up there and smashes it over everyone's head is just, it's hard to explain. Obviously you get it, that pride for your little girl.
Yeah. I love, giving them something that outside of school or just giving something to hang their hat on that they love to do and learn hard things, baseball is a game of failure. And if they can manage, to learn hard things, learn how to win, lose. I just love what sports does for them. And like Rachel said, they like softball, but like, I want to expose them to everything. Right now they're in like a lacrosse camp. Lacrosse has gotten big out here. I think it's bigger across the country. They're doing some lacrosse, and I want them to just do hard things, learn how to fail, learn how to win, learn how to be a teammate, learn how to be competitive. Like all the things that sports do, I think it prepares you in life, and that's what I want to give back to these kids is have something other than school or have something to hang your hat on that you worked hard to get better at. So
beautiful. We're going to switch gears here. I know we've got some emotional stuff. This is going to be a funny one. This was great that she dropped this. This is called Elbow Up.
And then another funny story is every time, most parents will say this, you'll hear it all the time, elbow up, elbow up. So, I'm a new parent, kids at T-ball. I'm like, Raina, elbow up. He turned to me in the most serious voice, and he was like, do not ever say that again. I was like, whoa, okay. And so he had to tell me, it's not about the elbows, it's about the hands, getting back. And so every time now we hear a parent say it, it literally happens almost every game. I know he's cringing, and I just laugh. It cracks me up.
That one really tickled my funny bone. You got anything there?
Oh man, we like she said, and now we'll just like look at each other like
see,
right? Like, yeah. But I mean, it's just. Well, I guess what I would say is like I just love being able to give back to not only my kids, but Rachel had alluded to like we're involved in the league here, and I just feel like it's on my heart to give back to not only my kids, but to it's about an environment. And if you create a positive environment, that people are going to want to come back to that environment. And and we have it. I've been fortunate enough to be around it enough to where I know right and wrong. I know what it should look like and what it shouldn't look like. And we laugh about the elbow up, but it's just kind of like those parents, they might be an attorney, right? That I have no strength in, right? But I feel like I have an ability to give back to these kids, not only mine, but in the community. And it's just on my heart to do that and to create a great environment that they want to be a part of and they want to come back to learn more. So
I love that. Beautiful, my man. I just thought that was funny. I had to throw it in there. She was great. I've got two more from here. They are touching, so buckle up. Let's go. He is an inspiration.
Awesome. Yeah, he's an inspiration. I don't know that he did the best in school, and it wasn't really his thing. He loved the sports side of things, and that's how my oldest is too. She loves sports, and it's just fun to see like him being able to take that and use it to his strengths and be able to do something completely different from sport.
I'm going to touch on this actually because you are an inspiration, my friend, and you and I have had private conversations about your role in the medical device field is you've got a lot of responsibility and a lot of stuff going on. I know that you specifically will set up your schedule to spend quality time with your girls, and you'll even do stuff like hang out with them and like do some of your paperwork later on when they go to bed and stuff like that. And that's so incredible to hear just how she speaks about you and how you do all this for the family. And it's just another thing is you guys are, obviously I see the pictures and whatnot, and I know how great of a person you are, but you guys are obnoxiously good looking as a family. It's like a Hallmark card. These, your wife's beautiful. Your 3 little girls are beautiful. It's just like this Hallmark card. And she even said like, it'd be easy to hate Ryan if you didn't know him because he seems like he has all this going for him, but he's the best guy in the world. So I'm going to go to our last one here. Success after baseball. I loved this clip. Here we go.
I think, to be honest, I think his success after baseball has been even greater. He's been able to find purpose beyond the game, and that's a hard challenge for former athletes to give it up and to finally hang up, your jersey and cleats. But Ryan was able to meet that head on. And I think one thing that helped him get there was we had our first child, Raina. She's now 11, but she was born 9 weeks early, and she spent the first 2 months in the NICU. And I think he realized, like, this career is awesome, but it's not really one that's going to keep me close to my family. And so with that, his determination for, wanting to create a life beyond baseball and his faith, he took that challenge from transitioning from the locker room to the operating room. And he's he's a people person. So I think that skill set and his grit that came from baseball, his work ethic and trust in God really propelled him to success that he's seeing today. And he now manages an entire Southwest region for a leading spine company and had no experience in the medical field. So I think it was really cool to see him take that on and nothing about this industry, but he was like, I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to make it work. And he's been able to do that.
You got anything? I've got some thoughts on that. If you don't, man, what you got?
Oh man, I just life prepares you for just a lot, and what I got to experience in baseball, super grateful for it. But I think all of that has prepared me. I call it like my previous life and my life today, like baseball and then after baseball. I truly believe that all that prepared me for what I'm experiencing today. And all the stories that we've heard throughout today is just, it prepared me for this. And again, it's not, it's relationships. Michael Barrett said that it's relationships. It's no different than building a spine team, right? And I said it's about creating an environment that people want to be a part of. That's what I try to do within my team. I didn't know what I was doing, but you just like in pro ball, like you don't know what double A is going to be like. You don't know what triple A is going to be like. You don't know what the big league is going to be like, but you just show up. You keep showing up for not only your family, but for your workers. It's so easy to take the easy route of not showing up and not putting yourself out there. It's you're definitely putting yourself out there. And I truly believe baseball teaches you that, or sports, or something that you do that is hard, prepares you for that, to keep showing up, even if you get knocked down, man. Even if you just keep showing up. Yeah. And I love to show up for my family. I love to teach that, for my my girls and my wife, and the team that I get to be around. And it's like a locker room. It's like a clubhouse. It's like people are still giving you a hard time, and and it's just like the Phil Nevin story. Like if you take it personally and you're like, oh, I'm bigger than that, I'm better than that, then I truly believe that people are going to not want to be around you. It's not the environment you're trying to create. Yeah. So I just love what baseball, what life has prepared me for. But I'm truly blessed. I'm not blind to the fact that whether it's the looks or the smile or the grit or the family that I was, raised, like I'm blessed.
Yeah, man, that's so beautiful. Oh, I love how life has turned out for you, my friend. And one thing I wanted to comment on here is that, and I hope you take this in the right way, is that, it was, and Rachel even said it, like school wasn't really your thing at the time, right? Like it wasn't your thing, but what you have had to learn in the medical device field, and this is someone, I have an exercise science degree. I know all about medical terminology and all that stuff. You have had to learn a ton of information, and it is so difficult. So you figured out a way through your grit, through your perseverance to figure that out, and that you're in a position where you're at. Like Ryan Aper, one of my good friends, he's in the medical device field as well. He's filled me in on like how high you are and how high you have climbed, and you have obviously done extremely well in your field to get where you're at. And it's just a testament to who you are, man. Just congratulations on your life, I guess. It's just, I'm proud of you, buddy.
But it's not, but you're right. Like I like school as we know it. And I always like kind of laugh about that now. I didn't at the time. We all have a gift. God blesses all with a gift, and school as we know it today might not bring out someone's gift.
Yeah. Well said.
It might not. And if we completely hold our hat on that experience alone, but I will say I think that that struggle, that that portion of my life of where, man, I was like, in the classes that kids made fun of. School was not easy. I really struggled, but at the end of the day, man, I fought through it, and I got a high school degree, I got a college degree, and life prepares me. That wasn't a fun part of life, but man, it prepared me to have like grit and tenacity, and to also know that I can't do it by myself. I can't do it alone. Like I needed to lean on certain teachers. I could go down the list, a short list, but like a list of teachers that like inspired me that I could do it. And that I think that gave me the drive in baseball that I could do it. And so I just think that like you turn a struggle into a positive instead of dwelling on the negativity. Like I think at the end of the day, man, I think that struggle in school gave me the fight and the grit that I have in my soul. So,
ooh, O'Malley, that's deep, my friend. Man, well, it feels like we just started. We've been going for a little over 2 hours now, about 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Are you needing a break or anything, or how are we at time wise? We can. We don't have to get to the Q&A. If you want to wrap this up and maybe come back another day, or we don't even have to do the Q&A, man. This was so beautiful. We could wrap it right now if you wanted to. Just tell me where you're at.
I'm good, dude. I mean, if you want to get into some of the Q&A, let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, I'll pick some spots here. Man, this was everything I thought it was going to be, dude. I knew this was going to be beautiful, and it played out. How was it hearing from some of these guys? Hearing their inside thoughts on this whole thing. Pretty cool.
Oh man, it's always great to hear from people that you put on that you think a lot of, right?
Yeah.
That they think the same, that they think a lot of you, and so that's not always the case. And so it's all four of the people that were a part of this have a big impact on my life. Yeah. And some of them might be shorter than others, but they all had an impact of who I am, of who Ryan O'Malley is. And that was fun. It was fun to hear their side of it. Cause you always you think they might've remembered it. They might, who knows? But the detail that some of those, especially obviously Rachel and Rich know know me a lot longer, but the Dempster and Michael Barrett, the level that they recalled,
pretty special.
Cool. It was pretty cool.
I knew when I was talking to them that we had something special, because I was worried too. What are these guys? What if it was more of just okay, yeah, cool. O'Malley had a magical 1-win start. I've been in the big leagues for 16 years, whatever. I mean, they wouldn't be jerks like that, but what if it wasn't? I mean, Dempster was in it. He was in his bag thinking about you. That was pretty special to hear that this big league guy with all these experiences thought that was a special moment. And as this podcast grows, it's partly kind of Central Illinois, and it's starting to grow outside of it. You're fulfilling two of these things, because this is such a beautiful story. It doesn't have anything to do with Central Illinois. It's still beautiful. It's just this guy that grew up with a dream, and a lot of improbable things along the way got to have this really special moment in this beautiful life. And I'm so glad that we kind of got to see it all and how everyone else saw it. So just so cool, man. This is just the best. And now a few words from our sponsors. We are also brought to you by Iron Palm Coffee, located at exit 82 right off I-55 for Auburn and Pawnee. This is a very special guy to me. This is my buddy John Drakamp, one of my best friends. He's had this vision of having this coffee spot for years. It's finally, come to fruition, and he's slanging some of the best coffee in Central Illinois. It's a coffee trailer serving up top brewed quality coffee, espressos, lattes, frappes, tea, baked goods, and much more. You can find them on Facebook at Iron Palm Coffee 217, IG or Instagram Iron Palm 217. Seriously, go support this guy. He's a big part of my story. Incredible guy, incredible vision, the best coffee around. Go support him.
We are also brought to you by Milner Dentistry, located at 755 South Grand Avenue West. They can be reached at 217-528-3384. Dr. Ty and his staff are incredible. The place is clean. They do amazing work. They can handle all your dentistry needs. Thanks again to Dr. Ty for agreeing to sponsor us here. He was a standout at Rochester, SCI, and then later had a really cool story of walking on at the U of I. Have a ton of respect for this guy. Please go support Dr. Ty and Milner Dentistry.
All right, let me I got a funny one for you. You're known as a health food guy. We've told some funny stories about it. How did you manage that when you were in the minor leagues? I remember reading stories about Gabe Kapler taking the bread off of chicken nuggets and stuff like that. What kind of stuff did you do to get by?
That's a great question, because in today's game, they've really changed. It's all about nutrition. But when we grew up, and I love your post game spread, it truly was peanut butter and jelly. That was what we had at the field. I mean, we're at the field at least 13 hours a day. Easy. And we have zero to little money in the minor leagues. And so when you put that combination, and you're in a small town to where Wendy's, Burger King, is probably the closest thing to food, to just food.
Yeah.
And so it was really challenging. And you mentioned Chad Marshik, and he was probably the person who taught me the most about nutrition and getting the most out of your body with giving your body the nutrition and the proper food. He hands down taught me that. And I remember going to like spring trainings and throughout the year of like, how can I eat better through when literally peanut butter and jelly was like the lunch. And then for dinner, it was Papa John pizza, man. Like not kidding you.
Yep.
5 out of 7 days, it was pizza. And I love pizza, right? But I knew better that it was not day in and day out. It was not going to get me to where I needed to be because I wasn't the biggest, strongest kid in the clubhouse by any means. Yeah. But you find ways. Chad gave me a bunch of ways to do it. It's all about preparation. If you wait to the last minute and not prepare, then you're not going to have the food. You're not going to have, because your body's so hungry. So I would prepare. Before I got to the field, I would bring good food into the clubhouse, and I would bring my own. And again, like that was an expense that I was taking out of my pocket because
investing in yourself.
Yeah. And we didn't make much money, but I knew that I had to do that. And one story that people still laugh about. I'm surprised Rich didn't bring it up, but in AAA, I would have a locker in my cubby. I would have a locker full of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
So I knew in AAA you got a little bit of a better spread. Like there was always a decent protein, but like the side options were never like ideal. It was like I don't know. It was probably a pasta of some sort, like a Chini Alfredo or something like creamy and anyway, not the best choice. So I would have a locker full of sweet potatoes, and where if I knew there was a good protein, I would just and a bad side option, I would just go grab one, stab it with a fork, and put it in the microwave for 5 minutes, and I would just eat it like an apple. And have that protein. And so there were little things that I would try to do to just to be the best version that I could be, but obviously outside the box of what everyone else is doing.
Love that, dude. This jogged my memory of a story that Rachel told me about. Is she from Omaha? Do I have that right?
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, okay. But she said basically that she was raised on meat and potatoes or something like that, you know? And she said, you know where I'm going with this? She said earlier when you guys first started dating, she was like trying to eat like you and, eating very cleanly and like less, processed carbs and things like that. And she was like, all of a sudden it was like, she's starting to get skinny and she's like, where's my figure going? And she realized that she was eating so cleanly that she needed a little bit of extra in there, I just thought that was funny. So she had to start adding some potatoes and things back in.
It's so funny. We laugh about it obviously today, but I meet this girl, like her family or friends don't really know who I am. And then all of a sudden, she like loses weight and, and not that she needed to, right? Not that she needed to lose weight.
What's going on? Yeah.
So people started like questioning me, like, am I giving her body shame? And like, am I starving her? Like, and I'm like, no, like, I just like, we don't eat, chicken fingers and French fries for every meal. Like she could get away with eating anything she wanted to. Yeah. And so when she started eating clean, like I like to, not that I like was making her do it. I was just like, I'm eating this. You can eat whatever you want. But so she started losing weight. People are like, what are you doing to this girl? Like, what's happening?
Are you guys good together? Yeah, that was a fun little thing. How do you you obviously still look fit. I know I've seen pictures of like some CrossFit stuff. How do you maintain your kind of health and fitness these days? How do you find time, or how often?
I mean, it's more of today I need it more for like a mental, like the stresses of being in med device, of sales, of trying to hit certain goals, and also like then the kids are being kids, and today I need it's a great stress reliever to go out and get a good exercise. I feel so much better mentally and physically, especially now, 45 years old, the body doesn't move like we were talking about Rich Hill, like he's still doing, I don't know how, but like I just want to feel better. I want to be able to do things with my kids. I want to be healthy for them. I want to be a good example for them. I don't necessarily try to go lift like I see you doing still this day. I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Dude. You gotta be careful, man. Like, but I love that you still love it.
I'm a habitual line stepper. I can't help myself.
But to me, it's more of like mentally. I need it mentally, and also it's more about flexibility. Like if I'm doing a lot more now, it's a lot of flexibility, and it's still moving some weight, no question. Still moving some weight, but it's not nearly like the risk reward is not like I see you doing throwing around some serious weight. So I don't do that anymore.
I still enjoy it, man. I can remember a phrase you told me back when we used to train together. I think there was an off season where Justin was like in Puerto Rico and Jason was done or something. So you and I spent a lot of time together, and it was awesome, hearing your stuff on diet and exercise. And you were always kind of warning me of like overdoing it, which I was prone to do. And you were like, man, you got to train to gain, not drain. And I've never forgot that phrase. And while sometimes I don't adhere to that, it's always stuck with me, so I thank you for that.
It's about life, man. It's like I said it earlier, it's all about, eating in moderation of what you like. It just same thing with training. Life's about balance, man. And training taught me that. I'll never forget. Like I used to be obsessed with it, and to where like I didn't feel like if I didn't get one in, I was less than, and I wasn't getting better. And I'll never forget when Rachel and I went on our honeymoon, and we didn't focus on working out. We were just and then I came back and I set like a ton of PRs. I was just like, wow.
The rest was good for you.
I needed a break, and it was it really wasn't until then to where I really could ever turn it off. So I truly believe, man, life's just about a complete balance.
Well said, my friend. Let's do a little fun, a little more light. Who do you think is the greatest hitter of all time? Who do you think is the greatest pitcher of all time?
A hitter, I'm gonna go with Tony Gwynn. Tony, like when you think, like you see different clips on social media, and you see like how many hits that guy had versus how many, like everyone today is like striking out.
Strikeout thing, yeah.
And so he, like over his career, like struck out less than some of these guys are striking out in a season.
Right, nuts, isn't it? The back control that he had.
And he wasn't like a huge physical specimen like these guys are today.
Right.
But the dude could hit, man. I never got to face him. I did get to face his son a lot, actually, Tony Gwynn Jr. But I would say Tony Gwynn, because I love like a pure hitter that versus like, I'm sure you ask a lot of people that they're going to say like, power guys, but like Tony Gwynn, like Mark Grace, being a Cub guy, like that dude could and never had a ton of like fame, but that dude could swing. So those are some of like probably the hitters. Pitching, it was always Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine for me, just because of the velocity they had to pitch. But I will say I got to spend time with the Rangers, and I got to meet Nolan Ryan.
Oh, Nolan! Ooh.
And like when you look back on his career, what he did, I do think he was slighted that he never won a Cy Young. I think it's an absolute shame. that the guy never won a Cy Young. But when you get to meet somebody, you think of two things. Like it's either going to be, oh, there you go.
Keep going.
You either think like this guy's going to like, you put him on a pedestal, it's either going to like raise the bar, or you're going to be like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have met the guy because it changed my my opinion on him. And he definitely raised the bar. Like, I don't know if you've watched the they did a documentary on him, and you just love
incredible.
So good.
Yeah.
And he is a great person, a great man, and what he did on the baseball field is like no other, for sure.
Right. It flies in the face of all the metrics today and these pitch counts and whatnot. And this guy was throwing well into the hundreds every game, did it for years and years. I mean, this guy was still throwing upper 90s in his 40s. I mean, it's just a once in a lifetime arm. I had to grab this. So I do a little bit of art sometimes. It's therapeutic for me. And I did we can see it.
Oh yeah. The Robin Venturi. No, that wasn't that. Oh, well, okay.
This was a comebacker from Bo Jackson. This is his iconic thing.
That's right. That's right.
So I drew this for my son. It's Nolan Ryan, the bloody, you can judge my parenting if you want, but I just thought it was such an iconic thing, So anyway, Nolan Ryan. How about this? Fill me out a 9-man lineup of your favorite players. Doesn't necessarily have to be the best, just your favorites from each one from each position.
Whew.
Gonna be a lot of Cubs here.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Cubs that I grew up in, you got Andre Dawson, the Hawk in right field. You got Mark Grace at first base. You got Rhino at second. You got Sean Dunston at shortstop. Man, I'm going to get a lot of grief that I don't know more than that. But obviously, Greg Maddux on the mound with the Cubs. Those are the Cubs that I grew up with. I got to meet Ron Santo. What awesome person. Big time Cub. So, man, all right, to go all time. Dang, dude, this is going to be too hard to do.
We can skip
let me just.
It's a complex.
Yeah, I might have to put a little more thought to that one.
Okay. Let me ask you this: do you have any prized autographs, and is there one that you wish that you would have got while you were up, or that you just didn't ask?
That's a great call, because when you are up, a lot of guys do it where they're always. Right? No, a lot of guys do ask, and a lot of guys are getting autographs, and I always was like, man, I don't know, like I want to beat that guy rather than like get his autograph.
Okay.
So I never really did it. But afterwards, what I did, some of my favorites are, I have a Ryan Sandberg ball. Yeah. I got Greg Maddux. I got a Nolan Ryan jersey. A jersey. What's
team?
that?
What team?
The Rangers. When I was with the Rangers, I got a jersey. He signed. He personalized it to me. That's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I got Ernie Banks. I have an Ernie Banks, Harmon Killebrew. Another Josh Hamilton. I have a Josh Hamilton. I got to spend time with Josh Hamilton. You talk about an interesting person, extreme talent, some quite a ride. That he was a lot of fun to be around with the Rangers. Like he's a great.
Can you speak to that at all a little bit?
I mean, like the Josh Hamilton that I know was like the ultimate Josh Hamilton, like the really good version of Josh Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, he's had such an incredible ride, and his book was incredible, and a little unfortunate what's happened after his career, but just up until that point, one of the greatest baseball stories of all time, his comeback, just incredible.
Oh, and I got to be around him like in his I probably shouldn't say his prime, but probably his prime pro career with the Rangers when when they went to back-to-back World Series. The version that the quick story, like behind the scenes, us coaches would always try to beat the players into the weight room. And so I would always get there, like, again, trying to get my workout in before the day started as a coach. Yeah. And towards the end of some of the players would start trickling in. And I'll never forget the visual of Josh Hamilton, like physical specimen. Yeah. He came in there and he's got flip-flops on, like cut off T-shirts, and he picks up the 100-pound dumbbells and starts curling them, just curling them, like repping them out. Just in flip-flops, cut off T-shirt, like 6 p.m., like no warm-up, no, just man-child of like strength, 100-pound dumbbells. Like I'm trying to like just lift them off the rack, and he's over there curling them.
Man, that's just I was such a fan of his. I'll never forget that home run derby. Well, that was just so iconic, and his MVP and his comeback, what he came back from, and just, I mean, I remember when he got drafted and being like, wow, this guy is going to be so special, because they couldn't decide whether he was going to be the number one pick as a pitcher or an outfielder. He was throwing mid-upper 90s in high school. Like, this guy was as talented as it gets, as physically, right?
Oh man, I mean, there's like a whole nother level of physical talent. He
was away from the game, and then to come back and be an MVP is like, that's special. Yeah. Nuts. Well, thank you, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, Greg Maddux, obviously got to spend time with him because Mike Maddux was the pitching coach with the Rangers when I was there, and so Greg would come. I got to know him a little bit, with the Cubs, but not at the same level that I got to be around. As to see him talk to a bunch of pitching coaches, and the way we would watch film, and the way he would see film and trying to share that to pitchers was incredible. Was absolutely incredible. And still this day, it's like, he had a vision and a thought, a brain, obviously the career he had, like no other. Like, he couldn't even teach it to people. Like, it was that good. Yeah. To like, how do you guys not see that he's late on that fastball? And why would you throw this? Like, how do you not see that? And right. He had a great way of like, he had a great way about him too. It wasn't like an asshole. He was just funny. He was super funny. So that was a very special time to like, I idolize the guy as a pitcher, and then to be around him as as a pitching coach, and then him trying to be like a pitching coach, but like he couldn't understand how people couldn't, but he was funny about it. Like, he wasn't like a jerk about it. So that was pretty awesome.
Love that. Let me ask you this. A lot has changed in the scape of hitting and mechanics and all this. You're obviously raising these young little stud ladies. Are you paying attention to all these new ways to teach hitting and thoughts? Do you have anything to say about that, or how are you teaching them?
Yeah, it's a great question, Blake. Like, I still have a lot of friends that are in the game. I got some friends still with the Rangers. I got a buddy that's in the Padres organization. I got a pitching coach with the Pirates I'm still close with. So I'm always asking them, like, because it's completely changed since I was there. And They all say, even Rich, I had a long conversation with when Rich was here a couple of weeks ago. He's like, all of them say you still have to go execute like, you can have all the information that they have today, but you still have to go execute what the information is telling you. Yeah. And if you can't execute what they're telling you, it's just information. And so I do think that it is a beautiful thing, like how much information is out there, and the capabilities and the technology that they have is incredible. But again, it's just technology. Like, if you don't have conviction behind pitches, if you don't believe in yourself, if you can't execute a swing or a pitch, it's information that isn't executed. Well, ooh. I got to go. It was fun. I got to go to spring training with the Rangers. Just this past year, I went out there just to say hi to some old buddies, and they've got this this lab to where they have a hitting side and a pitching side. They got all the cameras, and then they have this hitting. It's this hitting machine. It's crazy to where there's a computer that it's like pull up Nolan Ryan throwing a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, and you have a visual.
Yeah.
And you have a visual of Nolan Ryan going through his mechanics and throwing the spin rate and the velocity. It's like you can go face you name the pitcher.
Yeah.
You name the pitcher. You could go have like 10 at bats
before you face them.
Isn't
that crazy?
It's crazy. But still, again, you got to go out there and still you got to do it. Like I still believe this day, like it's crazy with the information. It's still information, but you still got to go win and compete and believe and like all the intangibles that I think that will always be around.
Beautiful. Oh, we're getting close to the end here. Let's say 5 more questions, and I just zeroed in on some ones that I thought were incredible. That'll take us right to about 3 hours, which I think is a great window for us. This has been so beautiful, my friend. What are you most proud of looking back on your career?
Oh man, I think just listening today, obviously reflecting back, going down memory lane. It's about the teammate. Man, it's like, who do you want to be in the trenches with? And you're competing. You want to be the best.
Yeah.
But it's about being a good teammate.
Yeah. You got a beautiful soul, my friend. I'll give you a second here. And obviously these guys all thought of you as a special teammate as well, as do your friends, as does your wife, as do your kids. You are the best teammate, my friend. Is there anything that you particularly miss about the game? You're obviously not player or coaching in baseball. You're still involved softball wise, but what do you miss? Is there anything that just jumps out?
Yeah, it's funny. That question comes up a lot. It's like, man, don't you miss it? Don't you want to go back? What do you miss? And the what you miss is competing. There's aspects that like sales and med device kind of fills that bucket. I'm a big fan of Jason Worth, and he's doing. I don't know if you're following him, but he's
horse stuff.
He's doing horse racing. Like I highly recommend going to watch that Netflix. He's on there a lot. And him and I talk a lot about it even today. And he talks about it. It's like he needed something to fill the bucket of competing, and I think that's the biggest thing. Because when you can't do that in kids' sports, like you can't take that fire of you can, but it comes off a little. You want them to learn how to win and lose. I think the competing edge of sales fills that for me of wanting to win and having a team and having that brotherhood of a locker room. That's what you miss, is competing in the brotherhood of the locker room and what you experience, going back with your college buddies and talking about, how good it was, and trying to stay in the moment of, how good we have it right now, and being the best version of what we can be today, and not having to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have changed or been a better version.
Man, you're killing it, my friend. Do you ever have any baseball dreams?
Today?
In life,
or like now?
Do you ever have a dream? Like when you're at night?
Often.
Tell me about it.
Man, it's funny that there's probably, I have more of like in being in spring training of waking up and just wanting to go earn the spot, and it's like they'll almost be nightmares, I guess, because you wake up and you feel like you either missed the bus
or
you're late, or There's probably some more of that than like there's very few of like, game 7 out on the mound. It's more of the journey of preparing yourself, of like practicing, being late for practice, being out there with the guys. Like probably more of that than there is like, game 7 on the mound. You got the ball.
I totally get that. I've got some strange baseball dreams myself. They always end up being like, I missed the bus, or I'm not there, or they're calling me and I'm 40 years old and I'm like, I can't play anymore. Why do you want me to come back? And I'm like,
well, and one for me, like I'm a particular guy when it comes to my uniform, or I think I'm a true believer of like, you look good, you feel good, you play good.
Play good. Yep.
So, I have some of those where like I don't have the right uniform on, or I don't have the right like socks aren't right. Like my Rachel gets on to me like, I will dress the girls for the game. Like their pants got to be right, their socks, their belt, and she's like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, oh, it matters.
It matters. It does.
Right.
Every little detail matters. Yeah.
Yeah, it matters. And so I'm probably creating a monster, but man, but yeah, it's so there's some of those.
I totally get that. And then last one, I've been asking guys this, and it's kind of interesting, the answers. You have not played a baseball game in many, many years in official capacity. Do you still consider yourself a baseball player?
Yeah.
For sure you are,
Yeah.
buddy. Yep. For sure you are. Well, man.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to expound on that, or just is yes sufficient?
I mean,
answer?
yeah. I think
I still am.
Just because you don't have the uniform on, man, it like Michael Barrett said it best. Like that burn, that fire, is still in there. And I don't, just because you don't have the uniform on anymore, like the Father Time kind of takes it off you. It's that fire is still in there.
I totally agree, and it's this sport that shaped us. It shaped me from a young age till I was an adult, and there were times when I kind of wanted to shy away from that, like, oh, I'm not a baseball player anymore. But I've come back full circle, and it's shaped me. It's who I am still. I haven't put a uniform on, well over 12, 15 years, but I'm still a baseball player, and I will be till the day that I die, my friend. Man, this has been incredible, man. We're at the end here. How you feeling?
No, this is good. I love this. I appreciate you, Blake, that you put a lot of time and effort into it. You've done some great work.
Thank you.
I take my hat off to you to keep it up, because I know there's a lot of time that goes into it, and it's fun. It's fun to bring back old memories, and I mean, I still get emotional on some of this. And so like it's just, I truly believe that this journey that we're all on, it's a great journey, and to go down memory lane that you take us down, it brings some of the great memories out. So I appreciate you for doing that.
I appreciate you, my friend. This has been so special, and we wouldn't still be going today without the original, Ryan O'Malley episode. So your journey through baseball is so special. You're an incredible guy. This truly was a journey worth remembering. I love you, buddy. This has been incredible. Thank you to everyone that's participated. Michael Barrett, Ryan Dempster, Rich Hill, the lovely Rachel O'Malley. This was incredible. Your girls will have this forever. I can't wait to put this out. This was, so incredible. So anyway, a journey worth remembering. The post-game spread. This is Ryan O'Malley, part 3. We appreciate you guys, and we're out of here. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Blake.